All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is the Southwest Florida TechNet. We are broadcasting live worldwide on YouTube, and we're also on Zoom. If you'd like to join us on Zoom, go to www.southwestfloridatechnet or SWFLtech.net and click it, and there we go. I can hear myself, so I know that we are on. Now I got to figure out where I just came up. There it is. Okay, let me pause that. All right, we are now on there for sure. I don't know why it pops up a screen because I'm broadcasting, so probably not a real good time to pop up a screen of me broadcasting. Okay, anyway, let's get back to here. So tonight we're going to be using the MFJ antenna analyzer, and I don't know why that camera is stuck, but it really doesn't matter. Yeah, look, it's stuck with a really pissed off look on my face too. Whenever I go to that,
ready to start a nuclear war there.
Yeah, that's my Putin look right there. That's my Pootie. What do y'all think about that? Is that good? All right. Anyway, so anyway, I've got my MFJ hooked up tonight, and we're going to be using this to test our different antennas. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get to that in just a few minutes. As I just said before the show, for those of you who are already here, the reason all my radios are off tonight, I have 7 radios over here, and they're all off tonight except the one receiver, which I'll go ahead and turn it off too. No sense in it being on. All my antennas are right here and right here, and I've taken all my portable radio antennas off all my portables. They're right here and right here. And so we're actually going to spend the next few hours talking about antennas and which ones work better and which ones don't, how they test out, and why people don't pay attention to a certain thing of how broad the band is on an antenna. And that's so important. I'm going to show you some antennas tonight that have very narrow bandwidths. They're only good for like 440 through 443, and that's it. Anything after that, they get really wacky. I'm going to show you some other stuff tonight that's got a really wide bandwidth. You can actually get into a 3.0 SWR or better pretty easy. I mean, because they've got a really wide bandwidth. So we're going to go through all of that kind of stuff. I don't see Dave tonight. Oh, there's one Dave in here, but I don't see the other Dave. Anyway, hope I didn't upset him with the roundabout discussion last week. All right. Anyway, you never know. Sometimes I get intense.
Some people
it's kind of like
personally.
I tell people I'm kind of like sex when you're camping. It's always intense. Nobody thought that was funny? All right, you guys are a rough crowd. Hold on just a second.
You forgot to lock the door. Or unlock the door.
He went to push the button.
It always sucks when the door flies open on the shack while you're broadcasting, but that's okay. I just get up and close it, right? Wait, whatever. All right, so here we go. Joseph, I'm not sure if he's in yet. When Joseph gets in, I'm trying a different mode tonight. Let me just go back to this mode for right now. When Joseph gets in, I'm going to see if he's going to be able to demonstrate he may be able to demonstrate for us tonight the Nano VNA as well. And if he can, that's great. If there's someone else that uses a Nano VNA that can capture their screen that would like to show us how you use it, that would be great. I gave mine to Joseph, so I don't have that anymore because I bought the MFJ, which truthfully is just about all you'll ever need when it comes to tuning, unless you need a Smith scale or some kind of crazy stuff like that. All right, so we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about tuning. We're going to talk about antennas, different kinds of antennas, the different performance ranges for them. And then after that, we're going to talk about some news items later on. Guys, the $35 thing starts next month with FCC. So if you're going to want to get any kind of a vanity call sign or an upgrade, you want to get that all done between now and about the 19th of next month. So it's less than a month away. They're going to start charging $35. We had an M-class solar flare about 20 or so hours ago. It caused a minor shortwave radio blackout over Southeast Asia hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about that in just a little while. And another couple signs have come in, and solar cycle 25 is actually kicked up and doing pretty good. And we'll talk about that. The Southwest Florida WatchNet, I appreciate those that participated last night. We were able to get someone from Naples in, so that was good.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And of course, thoughts and prayers always going out to the folks in Ukraine as they're dealing with their situation there with an invader, and that's just a tough situation there. I'm glad to see. I think that I'm not going to get into it, but I do think that all the pressure that's being put on Russia, I think it's actually doing some good. I really hope it is. Um, some other things I wanted to talk about. I think Rick heard this last night on one of the nets, but I bought a hex beam, and it was shipped to me the exact same day, and I got it the same day because I bought a local one that was used, and I went and picked it up myself. I took it down, brought it home. It's sitting out in the yard about half assembled, and I'll have it up probably this weekend. Um, I spent $300 on it. Really nice ham. Great guy, older gentleman, just downsizing a little bit as he gets up into his 80s, and really good guy. And went out there and took it down for him on a tilt pole. We took it off. He helped me, and I got it all folded up and brought home and everything. Anyway, it's not the kind that Rick has. Rick has the new quad hex or whatever they call that newer one. Mine's the one that actually has the 4 different sets of contacts. It's got contacts on both sides. It's a totally different design than the one you
Yeah,
have.
it's original. Sounds like
Yeah,
the original design.
it's the original hex beam design. So I'm one of these guys that I like to start with the rotor tuner and work my way up. Well, on this, I'm kind of starting with the first generation hex, and then maybe in a year or two, I'll replace it with a second generation hex. But I'm going to be happy with it. This gentleman, as well as some stuff I read, says the performance is better on the newer ones, but it's not dramatic. They all work pretty well. But anyway, I have a hex. It's sitting out in the yard. I should have it up on the tower soon, and you guys will be able to see it back here on my tower cam. Um, we did a little bit of live broadcasting this last week. I broadcast for a little while we had some weather coming through North Florida on YouTube, and I was broadcast overnight, tower cams and weather information and radar and ham radio feeds, SARnet, all that kind of stuff. We were feeding it out right here on this YouTube channel over the internet, so that was pretty cool. And Joseph did the same thing when it came through his area the day before. He went on and was doing some live broadcasting. It really helps our algorithms. If you guys haven't taken a few minutes to go over and subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for the Southwest Florida TechNet channel on YouTube, please do that. It makes a lot of difference. If you got 2 accounts, sign into one, do it. Sign into the other and do it. It makes a lot of difference because we need to get over so many subscriptions before we move to the next level type of thing. Which brings me to the next thing that I wanted to bring up tonight. And this is a good thing. I went ahead and bucked up and spent $150 today of my money. And I bought the Southwest Florida website, the Southwest Florida TechNet website, the Tech Team website, and the WatchNet website. I bought the whole thing. It's now a paid website. There's no longer any Wix. If you guys probably didn't notice tonight, but when you went there was no ugly pink banner at the top anymore. We now own that. The TechNet now owns that website. Lock, stock, and barrel. It's no longer a free website. And we get full SEO wizards and assistance, and all that's already begun. Got another domain name, SWFLwatch.net. You can actually go to that right now, SWFLwatch.net, and it will bring you to the same place that SWFLtech.net brings you to. So another domain name, and we now own the websites. I expect some growth to come now. We will now start getting hits all over the world on Google and things like that. We are fully SEO'd with Google as of about 3 hours ago. And I'm now I'm doing like 2 different websites to get people in here. And we're going to list them both separately. So it's going to be some really cool stuff we're working on. I really got to get this thing out to more people. Our numbers dwindle. I don't know what happens sometimes. I think a lot of people are just busy. I don't think we're doing anything wrong as much as we just need to get more people because every weekend, half of us are busy doing something. I'd really like to get some more people involved. So if you guys know of any groups or anything that you can help us get the word out, please do. Send our newsletter out to them or send our information out to them. We'd really appreciate that. It's so important to get that out. I spent $168 today, I think it was, to purchase a paid website so that it will get the full SEO treatment. And it also allows me to spruce it up even more, add a few more cool things that I couldn't before, and it's gonna be really cool. So anyway, I wanted to let you guys know about that. Um, the weather this weekend. Another announcement. Beep beep beep. Breaking news. Sting. This is a big one. Last great weekend of the year. I'm telling you guys, at least till November. This is probably going to be the last completely perfect full weekend, and it's going to even last through Monday that we're probably going to see until November. So I'm just telling you guys, there may be one more, no promises, but I'm telling you guys, I would get out this weekend and do something. I got things planned Saturday and Sunday, both that involve and don't involve in tennis. And I'm looking forward to all that because this is going to be one of the last really good weekends down here. From here, it just gets hot and shitty, and everybody knows how it gets down here with 2,000% humidity. And so all that's coming. So just to let you know, this is it. And just a real quick mention, don't forget all the radio nets, including the Watch Net, the Simplex Net before the Watch Net on Thursdays. And then Sunday night, this coming Sunday, we got the Gab Fest at 7:30, and we got the 10-meter net, the windmill net, at 9 o'clock. And that's great for everybody. You don't have to be local to do that. I know it's not a good band at 9 o'clock at night, but when propagation's right, we get check-ins from out of the area on that net. So if 10's running late or if it's magic season or something, we might be able to get some out-of-town check-ins on the windmill net at 10 p.m. on 28.4.475, I think it is. Anyway. All right. That's all I have for announcements. Does anybody else have any announcements or anything they'd like to bring up front before we get started with what we're doing tonight?
All right, do I have the microphone? All right, so my brother-in-law, Steve, he lives down there at Ave Maria. He's just picked up a brand new FTM 200 DR, SEC 1235M power supply, a Tram 1477B dual band antenna, and 125 feet of RG213. He's supposed to have somebody come over and help him put this antenna up on the roof or figure out where they're going to mount it. But he's going to need help getting that radio programmed. He does not have a PC to do that. And I don't know if anybody of y'all can make a trip down there. I'm not going to drive from North Georgia to South Florida to program a radio for him. I offered to have him send the radio here and I could program it en route to him. But I don't know how long it would take me to get that to him.
Well,
I might play with the radio for 2 months.
Just like where you're at, some places are pretty far away, even they seem close down here. Ave Maria is actually about an hour and 20 minutes from my house. It's I'm at the very north end of Lee County. He's in the southwest or southeast corner of Collier County. And so he is south of Immokalee, about 20 minutes. I love Ave Maria. I've actually been out there a couple of times. Really nice new area out there. But it's too far for me to drive just for that. But if we can work out something, I'll meet him halfway. We can figure something out. Or if we have anybody on the net that's closer, let me know. We can do that. But I do have Chirp, and I've got all the Lee County standard frequency stuff. But he really needs to get the Collier stuff, which we need to get with Dave on, and he's not in tonight, I don't think. But if Dave comes on next week, he would know exactly what frequencies and what nets and everything down in Collier if we could somehow get you and him together, that would be the resource for
So,
that.
and that gets me to the second half. So this radio he's got is a Fusion digital radio. Anywhere around y'all, is there a Fusion digital radio? And how many of y'all have Fusion?
We have, I don't know of, I don't think
Three
any of them,
Fusion
I don't have
repeaters, I
Fusion.
believe.
The FMARC maintains 4 Fusion, either Fusion repeaters or combination Fusion repeaters, and they're in the Lee County area. I'm
Yeah.
not aware of anything. I know Lee County has nothing that would reach Ave Maria, so it would have to be a Collier County. It'd have to be a Collier County repeater down there, and I don't think I doubt it, but there might be. There's a lot of money down there, so someone might have put one up, but I don't know. I know here in Lee County, of the 3 digital modes, Fusion is the big one. Our DMR antenna has been demoted down the tower so much you can't even hit it anymore, because nobody was using it. And our D Star, I guess, is pretty good, but Fusion is by far the busy net around here, the busy digital mode.
Well, it wasn't that much more of a leap to go from not having any kind of digital to having one. And unfortunately, nobody has figured out how to put D-Star Fusion
DMR.
DMR all in one radio.
Could you imagine programming that thing?
It'd be easy.
Really? It'd be
Yeah.
more like it'd be like programming the space shuttle for 3 orbits.
There you are. It would be hard the first time around. No harder than making a code plug, though. That's most probably the hardest thing.
Yeah.
I haven't mastered that one yet.
I got 2 DMR radios, never got them working. Got one kind of working, but there was nobody ever on it. And then I got a third one given to me because nobody was using it. I've got it now. I can't get it working. I'm going to box it up and send it to Joseph. Somebody's got to like DMR somewhere. What a shame. I don't know.
Yes.
Kind of a lost cause, I think.
Well,
And I'll tell you why. DMR is the most complicated one of the 3. Even though it's the cheapest one of the 3, it's made off a Motorola system. And of course, that just makes it so complicated that I don't think there's people like me that have tried it. I'll probably never go back to DMR. I can't imagine I would ever bother because it's not taken off anyway. So, but Fusion, if I was going to get digital, it'd be Fusion for sure. So I love my Yazoo radios. Yazoo, however I'm supposed to pronounce it this week. All right,
Yahoo.
so Yahoo Radio. All right, so let's move on. Do you guys, how many of you guys have antenna analyzers? You guys do all this kind of stuff, right? I know Rick's got one. There it is. There's probably the exact one I got.
MFJ 269.
Mine's a 269 as well with the UHF button. And I love this thing. It's my favorite piece of equipment. And so what we're going to do is I'm actually going to hook up different antennas and we're going to sweep them and see where they come up. I was kind of hoping to have more people in tonight because there's a lot I can still learn on this. And so I was hoping if you guys see me doing something or you have something to add, please don't be shy. As you guys know, I consider myself kind of a newbie. And so criticism doesn't bother me. Okay, here we go. This first antenna that I put on here, this is a Bofang antenna. It's off of one of their waterproof radios. It's one of their nicer radios. It's about a $50 radio. It's the UV9R, I think it is. UV9R. It's their waterproof model radio. It's a really cool little antenna. It doesn't look like the other Bofang antennas. Anyway, I put this on here and I set my tuner for VHF and I start sweeping. And what I noticed right off is that it's actually right in the middle of the band. I mean, 1.4, 1.4, that's the best frequency. And that's pretty much where you want to be. I mean, 144 to 147. So that's really not bad. That's really not too bad. So we're bottoming out about 1.4. That's about as good as we're going to get. And the entire ham band is in tolerance. What do you guys consider tolerance on VHF? SWR2 or 3?
1.5.
Yeah.
Man after my own heart. I'm picky on SWR, but everybody else is like, 3, go. I'm like, no, not with my radio. Okay, and I'm probably overprotective because I don't have a lot of money, and I tend to be overprotective with my equipment. Um, but anyway, as you can see here, as we go down, the numbers go way up. Let's take a quick peek since we got it hooked up here. This is now I want to show you guys something. This is supposed to be a dual band antenna. As you guys know, it's a VHF antenna with and the UHF is harmonically achieved basically. Um, and I want to show you guys something. When you get up into the 440s where we're at, notice what the SWR is. It's horrible.
Yeah.
All the way through the entire amateur radio swath of the UHF band. It's out of tolerance.
Okay, but one of the things that you've got going for it is you're holding it out there on that stick, and it's out there
Yes.
by itself. What happens when you emulate by putting your face next to it, so that it looks like you're holding a radio with the antenna right there next to your head?
You're actually beating me to the punch here.
Okay.
I simulate that by holding on to the metal part of the antenna here. That kind of simulates me holding on to it, and you can see it does greatly bring it down.
Almost 2-1.
We're within tolerance now, or close. So, and that's kind of what I was wanting to demonstrate here was that when you test these HD antennas, especially, they're not grounded. There's no ground plane. And when you hold the portable radio, you become the ground plane. I played with Tiger Tails for a while. Have you guys ever done Tiger Tails? They call them different things, but you just make a little U-clamp that goes underneath your antenna when you screw it on your portable. And you make you a couple of aerials, 1 or 2 or 3 aerials that come off on your portable. And if you make them the same length as your antenna, I've had pretty good luck with it. I built one of those for a while and was using it to get on some different nets and stuff with a Baofeng. Because the biggest drawback to these is you are the ground plane for these antennas. But as you can see, if you ground it, or I could hold my face up next to it and put my hand around the tuner and probably get about the same result. But you're absolutely right. That's what we get with these. Now, we'll go ahead and I'm going to throw another one in here that's this is the stock Baofeng antenna. This is the one that comes with the UV5R. It's probably the most made antenna ever in the history of human beings. And I just want to show you guys what that kind of looks like on the meter. Okay, now I'm going to touch it to kind of simulate the ground. And we see that, again, we're just barely in tolerance as we go up through the 440s. We're in the 2.3, 2.4. And of course, it gets a lot worse if I'm not touching it. Again, this antenna it's a VHF antenna, and they've literally just they're using the harmonics basically just to achieve what they're trying to do. All right, here we look at the VHF sweep. Not very good at all. Not very good at all. It gets within tolerance, but notice where we're at. Everything over 145.4 is a 3. And then we get up here, we're getting up a little higher here. It gets better, but still 1.8 is the best we can do at 150 megahertz, which is out of our swath. So, why does this antenna seem to work pretty good on these Baofengs? Well, I'm going to tell you guys something. I did an antenna test a while back, and I tested the little antennas versus the big antennas. And you want to know what I found? The performance of the stock antenna that came on that radio tends to do about the best you're going to get. I bought these larger antennas, these Nagoyas, and the I'm trying to think of the name of the other one. There's several of them here. This one's actually made by TYT. This one is a Nagoya, but I think it's fake. These antennas although they're great, they got this big old tall piece on it, and you'd think that's really good. What you find out is that the performance of these is no better than the smaller antennas. I don't really know why that is, but I actually did an entire test on these, and I'm gonna try to pull that up here in a few minutes. Okay, I just put on a large antenna now, and again, I'm gonna hold on to this to ground it, and we're gonna run back through the VHF again. And look at that. It's literally just crap. It's like it's not even hooked up, but it is. Look at that. This was I got this with my good radio from TYT, my really good radio that I really, really like. Here's another one that came with another radio I bought from TYT, and I even find performance differences in these. But again, we throw this on here, ground. And again, I could put it up next to my face. I don't think you're really gonna, you can see there, it does get a little lower when I'm right up next to it. So we're gonna give it a little bit. All right, look at that, guys. Again, it doesn't do worth the crap. So your SWR is no better with the taller antenna. Let's check the UHF. Usually the larger the antenna, it doesn't do as well on UHF. Look at this. It's so far out. Let me hold on to it. Maybe that'll help. It's so far out of SWR, it's not giving me an SWR. It tries to resonate about 420.
Yeah.
I know some potheads that resonate about 420. Anyway, all right. So what you're basically looking at, that antenna has a worse SWR than the cheapie that came with the radio. That kind of sucks. All right. This is that Nagoya. I'm going to throw it on there next. I think this is a knockoff. Nagoya antennas are the #1 faked antenna online. Even on Amazon, you'll end up getting a fake one. Okay, so here we go. There's my Nagoya. It says it's a Nagoya NA771, 144 and 430 megahertz. So let's go to 144. Nothing. I'm moving this all around and make sure, okay. If I move it around, I can just almost get something here. Look at that. It's terrible. That's why I said I think this is a fake. I bought this thing and brought it home, put it on my radio, and I'm like, that's terrible. On VHF, it's a little better. It's within some people's tolerance at this point. But look at this. It climbs up. By the time you get down to 444, 445, you're over 3. What's going on? What the hell's going on? I don't know.
Ian, that button on the top of that thing, the UHF button, when do you push that? Do you know? I don't understand that. I've got that too.
Well, like right now, you set it on VHF like I have it right now, all the way to the left. And then when you hit the UHF button, it turns it into UHF mode. Now, your 2 gauges down here don't work anymore in UHF mode. It's only up here. And you also don't get the rest of the readings, but you do get the frequency and the SWR. That's all it'll give you in UHF mode.
Yeah.
But see, there you go. There's your frequency and SWR.
I've never tried that before.
Yep, that's all you do. And then when you're done with it, you just turn that switch back off, and it restarts and goes back into VHF mode again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, UHF is the pickiest one out there, so you got to have that. This is pretty cool. I actually have the camera mounted to this thing, so I can actually move it around, and the camera is mounted to the device, so it doesn't move. I thought that was kind of cool. It's a little blurry, but you guys can read the numbers. That's really all that matters. Okay. I'm going to try a couple of other things here. You ever wonder when you buy a 220 radio and you get the thing and it comes with two different antennas and you're like, hey, I got this one antenna like this one and it's got the yellow in it. See that?
Yeah.
It's the 220 antenna, right? It's the one for 220. So you got to remember to change it out on your radio when you go to 220. So I wanted to show you guys what happens when you sweep one of these 220 antennas on the other bands. Look at that.
Yeah, suck.
And you can see as I get closer to 220, it's coming down. Now, I don't actually, this thing doesn't do the 220 band, so I have no way of doing it, the actual band. But I just want to show you when you forget to change the antenna on your little 220 Bofang, your tri-bander, if you forget to change the frequency, this is what you're transmitting with right here, 22 megahertz, you know.
You may be able to get down the street with that, but that's about it.
Yep.
Tie a post-it to the radio, and then you can talk as far as you can throw the radio.
That's about
wait,
right.
The post-it might come off.
And notice on the 440 band, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything. So the moral to the story here, guys, is those 220 antennas are worthless for anything but 220. I wanted to put that out there. One final antenna on this kind of antenna that I want to show you. Actually, I got two more. Let me do this one. This one is a Comet. I have found Comet to be one of the better manufacturers. I've got two Comet antennas, and they're two of the better antennas I have. So I'm going to put this little thin, wispy Comet antenna on here. And I'm going to go ahead and ground it with my finger because we've been doing that with all of them. So that's kind of how we're doing the test. And let's see where we're at on 440. It's worthless. And it's even worse when I let go of it. So yeah, it's worthless in 440. Let's take a look at it in VHF. I bet you if I cut it in half, it'll work a lot better on 440. Look where my SWR is on this. It's way down here at 143. See that?
Yeah.
You get up to where we're at, and look how quick. This thing has no, when you have a coily antenna, it gets a little wider bandwidth than when you have a little wispy like this. Look at that, how quick it goes up like that. That's crazy. Okay, and then the last one I want to show you, I'll take off from here. This last one is the antenna that came on my $70 TYT. And this one's a much better antenna. And you can see here, look at the difference. So I'm kind of SWR1 right around where the repeaters are. And then I get to 2, but still all through the ham band, I'm pretty much at 1 or 2. So that's not so bad. Let's check the UHF side. Well, at least it's on the chart. But again, not so good. It's kind of amazing, isn't it, that they sell these things and they really just don't they don't perform. And I'm going to tell you the reason for that is like threefold. Number one, it's not going to perform like a big old huge great antenna. But I think the other things you got to remember with these is the radio is paired with the antenna. When I leave the antenna that came on the radio, it seems to have the best performance. When I start mixing and matching antennas and trying different aftermarket antennas, I never have as good a result as when I have the original antenna for that particular radio. And that's kind of been where I'm at with that. So any comments, questions, or discussion on portable radio antennas? All right. You guys are talkative tonight. All right. So that's where we're at with that. Now, as far as mobile antennas go, I don't really have a mobile antenna we can actually test here, but they test like everything else. You're going to find mobile antennas. If they're a higher quality antenna, like I got this like Ringo kind of thing, this big tall Ringo antenna on there, and it gets an SWR1 all the way through the entire ham portion of the VHF band. It's great. It's just a wonderful antenna. You buy these cheap $15 antennas from Amazon. You get $15 magnet mount antenna. You're going to get some performance out of it, but it's not going to have a real wide bandwidth on it, and it's not going to give you near the performance you get out of, say, a $60 or $80 antenna. All right. I want to start with. We're going to start with my tower. This one's actually going to be coming down here probably next couple days. This goes up to my dual 7-element VHF, and the connections are all in the weather up there, and I've got some problems, and it needs to come down and get serviced anyway. But let's just see where we're at. When I put it up, it SWR'd out really nice. But let's see where we're at. Let me make sure I'm out of UHF. All right. Now, like I said, this is a dual, 2 different 7-element Yeagis that are up on my tower on a 50-foot piece of coax, and it's at about 30 feet, shooting to the northwest. And you can see here that it SWRs out pretty nice. A little high at the lower end of our swath, but still well within acceptable range. And then of course it gets pretty low, or get down to 4. This got a lot better when I first put it up. It's been up there over a year, and the connections have got water in them and stuff. So I expect to get this back to a really good performance. I'm going to be reinstalling these two a little bit lower on a side tower, and they're going to be fixed facing towards the NI4CE system, which is the big Tampa Bay area system. Okay. Now, what's cool about this is my antenna up there has always done really good on UHF, even though it's cut for 2 meter, obviously. But look at this. It's all acceptable. Look at that. Oh, look at that. I mean, that's just nice. I don't care who you are. So, I mean, you can see I'm doing pretty good with it. I built this out of PVC pipe about 14, 15 months ago, and it's been taken down and put back up 3 times, and it's all bent up. But I get good performance with it. Look at that. Oh, man, that's not bad at all. All right. But yeah, that's my my dual 7-element beams that I built myself. The next one I'm going to test. Show you guys the sweep on. This is my homemade 3-element 2-meter beam. This is the one I use to talk to the 685. When I have this out here on a side antenna piece that I had about a 20-foot piece left over a tower, and I just have it stuck over here with a bunch of Yeagis stuck on it, and it's shooting towards the 685. I did that so that I literally can hook this up to a Baofeng, and I can talk on the 685 with a 1 water. So we'll see how it tests out. It's been up there in the weather for about a year, and it's like I said, it's a homemade Yeagi that I made with 3. I actually took aerials off of 3 old antennas that Joe gave me. I took the aerials off of 4 antennas, and I cut them all up and made the two driven elements, the 1 front element, and the reflector element in the back is actually 2 antennas, and they're bonded together, and that gives them the link they need to be the reflector. And that's what we got here. And look at this. We're talking about all within acceptable range. Look at that, 444, 1.1. I have great luck with my homemade antennas, and I'm going to tell you why. They're non-conductive booms, non-conductive mass, non-conductive beam. The only thing conductive up there is the driven elements, or the elements. And I think that makes a big difference. It gives you a better SWR. The entire ham band is 1.5 or less. And look at that. I get back to 1 again up here. So really good SWR in that. Let's go down and check the VHF side. It's actually cut for VHF. And look at that. Ah, oh, so sweet. It goes up pretty quick, though. Notice how quick it goes up? But it's still all within the acceptable range. Oh, and we go back down again. I love Yeagis. So definitely all within the acceptable parameters there. And like I said, I can make the 685 with this with 1 watt. It's about 8 miles away. And it's up only about 17 feet, 16 feet, something like that. So real happy with that. That's good performance. So that one can easily be used for UHF or VHF, and then I can go out there and manually spin it around to wherever I need it. I'll take a look at something interesting. This is my 6-meter beam. This is my 6-meter beam. Okay, let's see what we got here. Look at that. It's got a usable SWR at 152 megahertz. Now, the pattern would be all over God and country, and it probably wouldn't do you any good. But that's interesting, isn't it? That I'm getting a usable SWR through part of there. But I can take my tuner and switch it to the 27 to 70 band and get it down in the 50 range right there. Look at that. Boom. What is FT8 is 50.074, I think it is. Something like that. Look at that. Let's see what that is. Hold on. 53. And the other one is 5313. 5313. So that's the one I'm using pretty much, 5313, something like that. So it's a 1.3 SWR. That's really not bad. So I use this obviously without a tuner on 50, and it works great. So that's my 6-meter beam. And then any questions or comments, you guys just spit them out. There's only not that many of us in here, so. All right, the next one. This is my rear Ringo Ranger. I have 2 of them. I have one in the front, one in the back. This one is up on a 30-foot pole, about 27 foot, and then it's about an 11-foot antenna, so I'm almost 40 foot at the top. This is my second best performer, but I'm going to show you, I got 2 identical antennas. This one does not have the proper ground plane on it. The other one does. And you can see here, still does pretty good. Look at that, not bad. It bottoms out at 1.2 at 145. That's about where you want it to bottom out, wouldn't you think? 145, 144. Look at that. Really not bad. This is a Ringo Ranger. It's way up on a pole, and then I got my other Ringo Ranger here. Let's get that over here. I don't know if I can make this one reach. I'm gonna have to lift this up a little bit here. Okay, this one is my other Ringo, the one out in the front. Look at this. Because it has the proper ground plane, look at the difference. We start at 1.2, we immediately go up to 1.1, and then that's it. It stays at 1.1 all the way through to there. Look at that. And it resonates again at 149. So it does really good. This is my best performing VHF antenna right here. This is the one I use on the simplex net. When you guys hear me on the simplex net, this is the one I'm using. Let's check the UHF side of it. Look at that. It peaks at 152, but then it has another peak at 149 or 449, and then so it's got multiples here. Look at that. That's really good. That's a really good SWR right there. So I have great luck with these Ringos. They seem to last a long time out in the weather too. So very happy with that. And then the last thing I want to show you guys, and I do want to mention real quick, I know we're short tonight. I know about 5 people that have stuff going on tonight. And I myself have got very bad back pain tonight. So I planned on not going real late anyway. So, and I'm looking at faces. You guys all look about as tired as I am out there. So let's go this one here, just for giggles. This is my long wire.
Oh, okay. Let's see what that does.
And we're going to go down, and I'm going to start at 1.8 to 4 megahertz. Go way down. Put this. Oh, I can't put it right here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, see, that don't really. And it does not like 160. I have a real hard time getting any kind of SWR on 160. Now I get down here around 40, and you can see it's not so bad. My tuner has no problem with 40. And then, but you can see as I go up, it gets more and more difficult on my tuner. We get up to 28 megahertz or 10 meters. And you can tell my tuner has a long way to go to get that thing in. And then 50, I have a real hard time with 50 on this wire. I've never really been able to use 50 on the wire, which is fine because I don't need 50 on the wire. Look at that. It's like terrible.
What is that? Just a random piece of wire, or is it a certain piece, certain length?
It's a random length dipole wire. It's just 2 wires that come out of a baling or whatever it is.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm some of this is like, but if I wish I could have had my hex up, we could have run a sweep on that. That'd have been cool. But you can see why at 50 my tuner has such a hard time with it. Of course, there would be no performance at all up on the VHF frequencies, even though you can actually find where it resonates a little bit, but you know there would be no performance there anyway. All right. Okay, anything on that? Anything on the tuning stuff? I thought there'd be more discussion on this.
Yeah, my hex beam resonates in various weird places. You know, below 20, about 20.6 megahertz, and then about 21 into the 15 meter band, and Strange places. Must be
It
some
is
in
very strange how it works, I got to tell you. But anyway, the antenna testing I did, I basically took. I wish I could find that real quick, but I don't know if I'd ever be able to find it because it was like over a year ago. It was the first study I did. Let's see if I can find it real quick. File open. I can hear over on NICE coming in clear tonight, actually. I can actually hear it coming in really clear tonight on my beam. Okay, open. Why is this thing so slow? It's like it's not broadcasting. Okay, here we go. What I did was I basically took all the different antennas that I had at the time and I went down the street and I screwed each one on the same radio so that I was using the same radio, the same test. Everything was the same, right down to, so I had everything was it was a scientifically valid test basically of all the different antennas to see which antenna seemed to work the best. And what I found surprisingly was that the aftermarket antennas were not always better. A lot of times we think, well, I'm gonna buy an antenna that's aftermarket for 30 or 40 bucks and screw it on my radio, and I'm gonna get a lot better performance. And it sucks because that isn't what happens. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find this or not. I'm gonna check for one more thing here. It's been a while since I've done this, but I think it might be my other account. Does anybody have anything else on antennas while I'm looking this up here?
Nope, not really. Yep, I'm live.
Yeah, I got to tell you guys, the MFJ is definitely, in my opinion, the MFJ antenna analyzer is probably the best one as far as the simplicity of it. There's others that will give you a lot more information. Now, whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. I kind of like this one because it gives me exactly what I need and nothing more. Oh God! Oh, this
Well,
stupid
that
thing.
VNA that you got rid of, if you was to have mastered it, you could get a sweep and you could see the nulls at one time. You don't have to grab the knob and tune from one end to the next.
Right.
does all that.
You get to see from like
Yeah. No.
143 to
I actually.
148, 149. You get to see where the low spot is, the high spots. And when you were going to do your long wire, if you had a in-fed antenna that was resonant on 3 or 4 bands, you could see all of those resonant spots with one sweep.
Right. Just so you know, I had a Nano for about a year, and I used the heck out of it. I was even starting to figure out the whole Smith chart thing. So I'm not down on them at all. In fact, I like them. I just I got this, and I never went and used that one again. So
Well,
anyway,
what you've got is a really nice one, and especially if you're out in the field and doing something, you can see those meters. And with the flashlight, you can see those meters in the dark. That Nano VNA outside in the bright sunshine, it's nothing.
yeah, no, I know they're hard to see out there, and this thing you can see no matter how much light there is. All right, guys, here's the full screen this. There we go. This is my antenna test I did, and we'll just get rid of that. But anyway, this was the antenna test I did. I was a member of that club back when I did it. But anyway, what I did was basically I was looking at the SWR and the impedance of each one, and then I practically tested each antenna using a control radio and a distant station. This shows you what I used. I used two identical receivers, one with the Yagi facing towards me, and one with the Yagi facing on a 45-degree angle. I kind of did that on purpose to kind of give me two separate UV meters on them, so I could kind of see, see what kind of power I was getting. I used this radio, which is that waterproof one I told you about, the UV9R, and I set it on 8 watts. And then, of course, I used my antenna analyzer. And then what this shows you is each one that I used. A lot of these were the same ones I used tonight. This one here is this one right here. As a matter of fact, same antenna I tested tonight. And you can see here where it tests out. But I want you to see the performance of it. It did okay on the test. At 3 miles away, it was still a 55 and a 50. That's not so bad. See, each one. This one is the antenna that came on the radio. Notice pretty much the same numbers. It's the exact same numbers. So you can walk around with this big old double-size antenna on there, or you can just keep the one that came on it. You're going to get about the same performance. That's what I found. And if you notice, the SWR is about the same. They're all about, it's about equivalent on SWR. If you guys want, I can always send you a link to this. It looks like I need to do some formatting, but I probably should republish this. Here's another one. This one, man, I gotta fix this format. There we go. This one here is the Belfang standard antenna. It's about the same performance, yet again, about the same SWRs. There's a little Comet that I tested, that one I tested earlier. Again, about the same performance. We didn't notice a big performance difference. Hey, here we go. This is that Nagoya that I bought for $22 or whatever. Look at the performance. It's horrible. It actually is horrible. It sucks. And actually doesn't work near as well as just a stock antenna that came on the radio. This is the Tyt High Gain, and it did actually give me a little bit of gain, but it wasn't a big deal. It really didn't help me that much. Look at this. This was surprising. The Abri Tactical 48-inch folding antenna that I bought. Now, I have no doubt that if you're out in the middle of the woods and you got to get an emergency signal out, I have no doubt that just the length of this thing is going to help you. But that being said, it really didn't have any better performance than the stock antenna according to my testing. Now, this test is by no means conclusive, but what I found was I got about the same performance with this as I did the ones that came on the HGs. So that was basically they all basically had about the same performance, except this Nagoya had dismal performance. Again, I think I got a knockoff. I really do. And this entire test was done on VHF. I find that the stuff that you find on UHF is much different. This is the actual TYT stock antenna, the one you're looking at. It's this one right here. This is the actual stock antenna that came on my TYT. It has the best SWR and the best performance of any of my portable radio antennas. And it came on my $68 UV8000 that I bought from TYT over Amazon for $70, $68, whatever. And that's what I found. So it's kind of interesting to me that that literally you can have one kind of antenna, another kind of antenna, but the one that came on the radio sometimes is the better performer. And I start to there's that mean face again. I start to wonder why that is. Why is it that that of all of them, that the one that came? But I think it's because when they built that radio, they built the antenna to go with that radio, and then they mass produced it. So I think the antenna is designed to work with that radio and maybe even work around its little issues. That's my opinion. What do you guys think?
I think
There's a lot to be said for that, and they may have tweaked and peaked the radio for that. You know, you mass produce the antenna, and then you tweak the radio to match it. So the tuning circuitry that's in there has been optimized for whatever wonky characteristics that antenna had. You changed the antenna, well, you've got a different wonky characteristic. The radio's not happy.
Exactly. So there you go, and that's what I found. I don't know if that's enlightening to anybody, but I suggest doing some testing with your stock antenna and doing some testing with your aftermarket antenna, and see if it's worth carrying that big old long thing around that's knocking everything off. You might. I used to carry. I got my radio right over here somewhere. I used to carry this radio around with this big old long antenna on it. Now I'm back to the stock antenna is what I always have on it because it works just as good. All right. Anything else on that, guys? Got to hook all my radios back up in the morning. All right. Let's go back over here and do. I'll run through a few stories we had here. It is going to be an early night. I'm having major back issues today, and I'm on lots of pain pills. And I don't want to get Dave started on roundabouts again. So.
Oh, God, golly, did somebody mention it and I missed it?
No, actually, I even said, I hope Dave comes in tonight because sometimes I'm too intense for people, and they're like, I'm not going in that guy's thing no more because he's a jerk. I love a good discussion. I'm on a debate. I'm like a debater, but sometimes I take it too far and I upset people. So I'm glad you're here tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, I wouldn't come just because you're a jerk. I would not come just because you're a jerk.
Okay.
Hey, did you? Did you buy the antenna?
Yes, I did. It's sitting outside.
Cool.
I did. It's a 5 or 6 year old, 7, 8 year old. I don't know, but it's in good shape. Everything still works on it. I bought 3 cans of gray, non-metallic Rust-Oleum protective paint for it.
That's good.
And I'm going to paint everything but the wires. And I'm going to paint all the plastic, all the parts, all the pieces, and hopefully get another 5 years out of it.
Oh yeah, you should be able to do that.
Older style hex, so that's kind of cool. I'm kind of starting with the first.
How long are the spreaders on that thing? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know, Rick, but I know from my research when I did the hex show about a month ago. I know from my research that mine is about 2 foot, not as wide as yours.
Okay. What I was hoping for is it would be about the same size. And I was going to say, if that's the case, then we could rearrange the wiring eventually such that it would be the new style hex.
Right.
Which would
I'm good with it. Yeah,
I think you can.
Yeah.
I think you can upgrade the older one to the newer one because I think you just have to effectively move it up a little bit.
Yeah, there may be a way to do that.
It may be, and I'm interested in looking at that down the road. I want to get it up like it is now and use it for a while like that.
Yeah, try it out.
The bad thing about these is there's actually contacts coming out of all 4 sides of the pole. And I don't know how it works exactly. I've got to do some more research, but there's actually 4 wires coming out for each band.
Did he give you
and then there's an isolator.
for it?
They come together and there's an isolator on the other end.
Interesting.
I don't even know how this thing works, man.
Yeah.
Did you get any documentation with it?
Yes, he did. It's out in my van, which is halfway between here and South Cape. But yeah, I do have paperwork. He actually gave me being the great ham that he is, he kept his original paperwork and everything with it. So
yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Did you talk him down from the asking price?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
He threw in the wire, and he threw in the balun, and he threw in everything else, and so I gave him 300 bucks.
oh, okay. Did he throw?
I You guys have to know something about me. Not a good businessman when it comes to stuff like that. I probably screw myself out of money all the time. I went out there and I told the guy, I said, "What does it include?" He goes, "Well," he goes, "Do you want the wire and the balun and all that?" I said, "Yeah, definitely." And he says, "All right." He goes, "Well, I'll throw that in." I said, "All right, then I'll give you the full 300." I didn't even try to talk him down.
Oh, well, I like to barter. I'm a barter man. So,
And I'm not. To me, it's icky, and I don't like it. I give the man
oh,
300 bucks, and I took the antenna home.
yeah, it's still a
I'd make
bargain,
a
I think.
shitty business guy, I guess. I don't know, but anyway,
Oh well, I'm glad you got it.
that's
I
why my
saw it.
clients like me so much because I'm probably really cheap.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you got it because I saw it. I've got a little search engine running on QRZ and
Yeah.
EHAM, and it comes up with anything that's local, So I've got a bunch of names in the search thing, and it came up almost as soon as he put it up. I think it was only 3 or 4 minutes. And I
Well,
was
and then
thinking,
I got your email, and I sent him an email about 8 minutes after I got your email. So I probably ripped his neck off. I don't know.
no,
He's
that's good.
probably,
That's good. You've got to strike
yeah.
when the iron's hot. So that's cool. Oh, I'm glad you got it. Next time, send me an email and tell me.
I want to surprise you.
Well, I might not have come back because you're a
Yeah.
jerk and you might have pissed me off.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Just about had a nuclear war last weekend over the roundabout.
I know. Well, we've scared Joseph off. Or did he go to the... there's a
You
thing
might
in
be
there.
having bad weather up there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where Joseph's at, but I didn't necessarily. He had no commitments in here tonight, so it's perfectly fine. Um, I uh, I want him to demonstrate the nano VNA at some point, just to show you guys that for those that have never seen one. But that's fine. And Dave, what we did tonight earlier on was we went and took all my antennas and we swept them on the SWR meter.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
It didn't take near as long as I thought it was going to.
Oh, well, that's a
Anyway,
shame because I've just done some wheeling dealing. I got rid of my old rig expert and I've got one of the older ones, but newer than my old one. I've got one of the 600s. So, and my antenna, I didn't think I took a picture of it. I've been making this 15, 16, 17 element, depending on how I end up. 70 sems antenna, vertical, seeing if I can get into your repeater from here. And that's going to go up, hopefully, over the weekend. But it looks a lot different on the new rig expert than it did on my Nano VNA. But that could be calibration issues, a bunch of other things. So,
well, I'll admit my Nano VNA and my MFJ SWR meter never actually met perfectly as far as they did give me slightly different readings. And but it is what it is. I did like that about the Nano, that you could set it to look at like a whole 100 megahertz at a time or 50 megahertz at a time, and you could see the entire sweep at one time. That's really cool. But I guess between the sunlight not being able to see the thing, and this thing just being so darn easy to use, I gave the Nano to Joseph.
okay.
I told him, take it with you when you go. It's yours. I don't want it back.
Yeah, my
But
Nano's sat here. But
they're
yeah,
good. They're good equipment, though. I mean, for a cheap little sixty
for
dollar
$50,
box,
yeah,
I mean, it's a good piece of equipment.
yeah.
And you can hook them up to your computer, and you can use them for other things. Even you can test other things with them. They do other things. So I was pretty happy with them. But anyway, all right. See, let's get back over here real quick. And Like I told everybody when we started tonight, having real back problems tonight. I'm in a lot of pain. The pain pills will wear off in about an hour, and
Mm.
so I'm going to be calling it short. So I want to go ahead and take a quick peek here at the headlines for today. And then you guys, of course, can comment on anything along the way that you see. Um, I do want to mention tonight, right off the bat, um, that I went ahead and paid for our website system today. It was $168, and we now have completely paid websites for the TechNet, the Tech Team, and the WatchNet. I also bought SWFLWatch.net, the domain name. That will now get you into our website system as well. And Our system is now completely paid, and I expect a lot more hits coming in the coming weeks. We are fully Google SEO'd now for the first time. Okay, and the WatchNet went pretty good. We had 4 of us last night, hoping to get more. We did have one person from Naples that made it in,
Yeah.
and he did pretty good. It was a little scratchy, but we had him.
Who was that?
Foster.
It was Foster, yeah.
Oh, Foster K. Yeah, KN4. No. Yeah, I know him. Foster. He's actually a rabbi. I don't know if you know that.
No,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what his call is.
It used to be K3, and now it's K4.
you know,
FES.
I'll tell you guys a really quick story, real quick, just because I want to. When I was in band in high school, playing my trumpet that's hanging right over there on the wall, I marched in the Red Knight Marching Band for 4 years, and my band director's name was Brian Burgess. Really good guy. I really liked him, and he was a great young band director. When I got in band at age 15, he was 23.
Wow.
So a very young band director right out of Ball State University. And I marched with him for 4 years. He stayed there 1 year after I left, and then he left. He went to the police academy and became a cop at the airport.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, was a police officer for 5 years. I only saw him once, said hi to him in passing. And about 5 years later, I go walk into the EOC one day, and he's the new operations coordinator at the Emergency Operations Center. And I ended up becoming his assistant as an intern and worked with him for 5 years at the Emergency Operations Center, including him and I responded right after Hurricane Andrew, and I was his personal assistant down there the whole time he was down there for Andrew, and he was the operational coordinator for Florida City and the surrounding area, including the South Camps. And so a lot of history between me and this guy. We were good friends for a long time. He walked in one day and said, "Dude, I'm moving away. I'm going to divinity school." And I said, "Divinity school? Come on, dude. Well, we were emergency managers together. You were a cop, you were a band director. Divinity school?" He's like, I want to do it. I have a calling from the Lord, and I want to do it. And I'm like, that's awesome. Never, ever, go against a calling. If you think it's your calling, you do it and try it. You can always come back and do something else later. He went to divinity school. I never heard from him again. And I looked the other day. My son-in-law was asking me about something in here, and I brought him up. And I said, let me look him up. He's an amateur radio operator.
Wow.
He is a deacon, he's a leader of one of the biggest churches in New Jersey. And I'm going to send him an email. "Hey, dude, it's me."
You should I was going to say you ought to contact him. My God.
Oh my God. I don't know whether to bow or laugh, but it's pretty cool.
Schedule with him on the air when you get the hex beam up.
Well, that's the thing. And he's got a picture of his station on his QRZ page, and I looked him up, and I'm just so happy I'm going to get back in contact with him. And we're both hams, and it's been about 20 years since we talked to each other.
Wow.
And
small world.
He looks a lot older now. I'm glad that didn't happen to me. But so I think I put on maybe a few. I don't know, but anyway. So we'll have to see. But I just want to tell you guys that story. He's a neat guy. He's one of these guys. He's almost like a savant or something. he can walk into a job and a year later he's the guy that knows everything about that job. You know, he's one of those kind of guys. And he literally did 4 different careers. I mean, how many of us can say I was a band director, I was a cop, I was the operations coordinator for emergency management for Lee County, and then of course the success he's had with his church. I just think it's really cool. The man's just he could have done anything he wanted in life, and he felt the calling from the Lord, and I just think that's really cool. I'm not overly religious myself, but I'm very supportive of those that are, and I think it's really great what he's doing right now. His name is Brian
Cool.
Burgess. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys that story. It was an enlightening story this week, and I wanted to bring that up to you guys tonight. So
Well, that's
anyway.
cool. Well, Foster's K4FEK. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. But he's got all his antennas in the attic as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we're soul brothers as far as attics are concerned.
And he got in. He got in last night. It was breaking up a little bit, but he got in. And the good news is, if he's in his attic, he's already in a safe location, so he won't have to take it down for a storm.
That's right.
So,
and he's considerably further away from you than I am.
Oh well, hell, there's hope.
Because he's right down by the bend in 75. You know where 75?
Oh my God, he's way down there.
Right there by the high school.
That's almost like by Immokalee Road down, or not Immokalee Road. That's way down. That's 951.
Yeah, that's Golden Gate.
Yeah.
Golden Gate Road or whatever it's called.
You know, there's a British ham. His call is G7FEK, and he has a very interesting antenna. You should look it up sometime.
Oh.
All right. Well, Foster used to be G1 or G3. No, K3 or K1, and he got K4 when he moved down here.
I usually can remember his call because if I can remember G7FEK, then I can remember Foster's call.
Well, G7's one of the odd ones.
Yeah.
That they didn't have many G7s because, you know, it started with...
I think it's G7, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, the G8s were the popular ones. G4 was the very popular one.
Yeah.
That's what I had. It went G6, which was the equivalent of our tech, and then you got your extra. No, you got your advanced and then extra, and then for some reason or other they combined those two together for a little while and had G7s. Because I was a G4, mine was G4 topless ladies X-ray, TLX.
FEK, and I forget his name.
All right, so sorry about that. There we go.
No, you're fine. It's all good. All discussion is welcome. The only thing I wanted to mention here was we had a solar flare much earlier today, and it was probably around midnight for us, and it did cause a radio blackout over the Southeast Asia area, and it did hurl a CME towards Earth. We're going to have to wait and see, though. They're modeling that CME right now to see how much of it we're going to actually get. They're doing some research right now, in the thermosphere is heating up, and they believe that it's heating up because we're entering into solar cycle 25. So there's a great article in here about the heating of the thermosphere and what they think is causing that. As far as the solar flux and stuff, let me just take a quick peek and see where we're at, see if it's changed any. We had a K index of 3 when I wrote this today around noon. And now the solar K index is at 1. So that's good. It's quieted out. We're now very quiet on the geomagnetic field. And the solar flux is still at 112, which is low, but still a little bit higher than it has been. So not too bad for any of that. We'll have to see where this goes. But so far, so good. It's better now than it was earlier today. Okay, we've got an aluminum alert for this coming week, a week from yesterday, this coming Thursday on 3/31. It's not going to be too bad, but we could have a couple of 30-mile-an-hour, 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts that day. So I just want to make sure you guys know it's an aluminum alert, but it's a low-level aluminum alert.
Well, I'm glad the aluminum on my hex beam was fairly thick. So,
it's not a fiberglass alert, so you should be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, here's my jokes. Joseph sent me the right one there. Just in case the ISS is passing and you're on patrol, you just take the antenna with you. I thought that was pretty funny. And one does not simply leave a ham fest empty-handed. Of course not. And I thought this was kind of funny. Why did the capacitor kiss the diode? He just couldn't resist her. I know that's stupid. Whatever. All right, something new to try. There's the Cars Vertical Antenna Shootout coming up on March the 2nd or April 2nd. I months, you know.
I was going to say March is ancient history now, almost.
Yeah, I know. So it's on April 2nd coming up, and anybody's welcome to this. It's right up in Charlotte County. They're going to set up a bunch of different antennas and see which ones work the best. I love stuff like that. I think it's going to be really cool. So if you're interested in that, you can email them and they'll send you the information. They did have a link to information, but it wouldn't open for me. So, but you can send them, or they might have something on their car's website. The link for that's here as well. Okay, DX around the world. There wasn't much going on this week, so there wasn't much to put on there. The swap shop is this coming tomorrow. It's this coming tomorrow, which is the one that's not today but tomorrow. Yeah, and it's one day before the day after tomorrow. So I want to make sure you guys know about that. It's also 2 days before Monday.
So tomorrow, that'll be today then.
It'll be today in a few hours.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow will be today in a few hours, which will mean that this will now become yesterday, and it gets all confusing from there. Okay, so anyway, that's where we're at with that. That's tomorrow. I'm going to probably stop by, but I'm not sure yet. I'm doing stuff with the old lady tomorrow, and she usually lets me stop by and see my friends. Radio events. There's 4 things coming up. This one's missing a date. I don't know what happened to it, but I know that it's coming up in about 2 or 3 weeks. It's still a few weeks away. The 4-9 one, this is the closest one coming up, and it's still 2 weeks away. So not a lot of ham stuff. We're starting to come out of ham radio event season right now, and we kind of stay out of it all the way until we get back into coming into season again in November. Ham radio news. China's space stations put hams in orbit. That's pretty cool. They're kind of following in the footsteps of the ISS. I don't know if I'd want to be flying around in a cheap Chinese space station. You have to put the word cheap before you say Chinese, right? So right. I'm thinking it must be a cheap. They got that space station on Amazon for $3,500. Anyway, we'll have to see how that goes. But no, I wish him luck, actually, and maybe it's something we can get in contact with him or something as well. So I'm looking forward to that. European Conference suspends Russian and Belarusian membership. Good for them. You know, as I keep saying, as mad as I am at Putin, I'm not mad at the general Russian average person. I'm really not. They haven't made a decision on who's leading them in 100 years. So it's kind of hard to blame people that really don't have a whole lot to say. And I guarantee you, if you took an accurate poll of Russians right now, 93% of them would not want to fight Ukraine. Yeah. So there you go. And that's where I'm leaving that. I don't like doing stuff like this, but we have to do stuff like this to keep the pressure on Putin. The only thing that's going to stop Putin is one of his people cracking his melon with a sniper rifle. Right. All right, FCC ham radio license fees take effect April 19th. The Gestapo cometh. Right. And yeah, here we go. We're going to have to pay for everything now. As we know, the government loves to take something from us and then charge us to use something that already belongs to us. Yeah. It's just like a paid parking space, you know? When you're driving around, you could pay the government $5 to park in a parking space that you already own. It's your parking space. It's a public parking space. Don't get me started. We did this segment.
I heard you do that a while ago.
We did 2 segments. This was I think it was the last segment of the last show. It was a pre-recorded segment. We actually recorded it during the 4 o'clock hour. We canned up a whole hour of the show today.
I heard that, Brian.
Did you hear me go off?
Oh yeah.
Man, I was yelling on there.
You were almost as bad as last week with
No, it
round.
wasn't. It was worse than last week. I was tearing it up. Where with Dave, I wasn't really tearing it up. I was just getting a little excited. Uh, when it comes to Cape Coral, I mean, I don't know what it is with Cape Coral. It's like anyone that ever becomes like anyone in Cape Coral government, the moment they become elected, their brains get sucked out of their head or something. Because
That sounds
uh,
like the federal government.
yeah, well,
Yeah, and any local upwards. Anybody who works for any municipality, government, or anything else like that seems to, as soon as the votes are counted, half their brain gets
yep,
taken away.
yeah, and we've got a bad problem here of people on one side running, but pretending they're on the other side because it's a nonpartisan race, and they use keywords like, "Oh, I'm conservative,"
Sounds like school boards.
"a conservative liberal." It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Um, I can't stand nonpartisan races. I think they all should be partisan races because they're all partisan races.
They really are
Anyway,
partisan
they
races.
are. If they're partisan races, so what are we? We're fooling ourselves that they're not. Anyway,
No, it's there to
I
fool.
guarantee I look up their affiliation and who they're registered before I
Yeah.
go vote. Anyway, the last one here, there's a special event station coming up that's going to be honoring the legend Loretta Lynn. I loved her music. I'm not big country music guy, but I do like a lot of the old country music, the Waylon Jennings, the Johnny Cash, the
Oh, yeah.
Willie Nelson. I love that genre, that era of
Patsy
country music.
Cline.
Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn. Yeah, I'm telling you. So anyway, that's coming up on April 14th. Watch for that. You can get a special certificate if you make contact with them. All the information for that is in your newsletter. And well, I bought it today, so I went ahead and made them my website of the week. Did you know that you can make your own websites? I think I've showed you guys. Some of you guys have been with me for a while. I've showed you this already on actually done it for you. You can build a website in minutes. If you can use a word processor, you can build a website. It's so simple. It's so easy. I don't want to give away all my secrets. I actually do this for a living. I've built 2 paid websites in the last 6 months, and I get paid for this. Um, I make beautiful websites for my clients, and they love it. Um, and I do it on this, and I'm no big intelligent fancy uh, webmaster that's really smart like Joseph. I really just get by, but Wix makes it easy. You guys can go to Wix, create a free account, create as many free websites as you want. They don't care. Then if you really want it to go big and you want to get a lot of hits and you want Google to SEO it properly and you want to get all the bells and whistles and a free domain name, you send them $150 and you get all that too. But I was free. All my websites with them are free, except the TechNet website, which I paid for this morning. So that's the only difference. Um, you guys should try. You guys see how complex the Tech Center, the TechNet website is?
Yeah.
That was a free website up till this morning, completely free. I paid nothing for it till this morning. It just shows you the power of Wix and all the things you can do with a free website. It's amazing. And I don't work for these people. In fact, I just paid full price. But I think it's important for you guys to see this. This is what the editor looks like. And you can see here, I'll scroll up there. That's what the editor looks like. It looks like you can add things. The pages are here. All your different things are here that you can do. All your settings are right there. It's very, very simple. I could, if you wanted to build a website, let's say Dave wanted to build a website for his club, or let's say somebody else wants to build a website for an adventure that they're going on, or a POTA thing they're doing, or something. I could get you on a Zoom meeting and you share your screen, and I can walk you through for 1 hour Wix, and you would be building websites. It's crazy how easy it is. So I'm just putting it out there. I'm willing to help you guys get started. I love helping people get started on new things. And this is such a fun thing to do. You can build your whole website with this one little tool. Anyway, if anybody wants to do this, let me know. I'm willing to help. I'll give you an hour and I'll get you going. We'll get you up and running, and do your own website. Okay, that's Wix.com. The weekend's contests, CQ. This is the one Rick told me about yesterday on the net. I think that's it, isn't it, Rick? The
Yep.
WWWPX.
CQRY WPX SSB contest. It's already
Yeah,
in progress.
you know these contests are starting to sound like military things with all the abbreviations and acronyms. So I got the CQWWWPXSSB contest. Are you in? So where's it at? It's in the DMZ. Anyway, one of my favorite movies is Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah.
And my favorite scene from that movie is when the commander idiot walks in and he starts spewing out, I want the DMD to be, and he starts doing all that. And Robin Williams comes back with this long string of acronyms. And it's my favorite scene in that whole movie. It's just hilarious because it's true. If you took away acronyms, we couldn't fight. I'm telling you.
My employer
Anyway.
was out of business.
Anyway, so there you go. There's our that's the contest that Rick told us about. There's going to be a lot of people doing this, and if you want to get some phone time, this is it. So this is it.
I planning on being on a little bit this weekend.
And as I always tell you guys, as we look at some of these cool pictures down here of all the contest stations, you don't have to be professional. You don't have to be in it to win it. Just do it for the contacts. Just do it to have a good time. I use it to fill my logbook with phone contacts. I've only got like 650 phone contacts in my logbook. The other 13,000 are FT4 and FTA. And I don't want people to know me as the digital ham guy that never talks on the radio. I really want to talk on the radio more. So this is the way I do it. I've gotten most of those 600 contacts in these contests. So you don't have to submit a log. The other guy still gets credit for your contact. I like to submit the logs. I think it's good too, but you don't have to. The only other one was this FOC QSO party, and that's CW only, so that information's there. Other than that, that's really all I have here for the newsletter this week. I have added the WatchNet and everything. Again, for Lee County people, this list of daily nets in here is the most comprehensive list of nets that there is. I have the Collier, the Hendry, the Charlotte, and the Lee nets all listed on here. So please use it. And if there's any corrections, Dave or anybody out there, if there's any corrections on my list, let me know. I'll fix them. Because I've got stuff on here I'm not sure about, like the Collier County Aries net, stuff like that. Okay, I've been compiling this for about a year now, this whole list of things here, this list of all the nets. Look at Thursday, man. That's a busy night.
Yeah, busy.
Yeah, there's a lot of nets. I'll tell you, if you guys haven't done nets in a while, do them. They're fun. A lot of fun. You run into John, AA4JS, and Charles. Both great guys. They net control a lot of these nets. Okay, does anybody have anything else on that? Opening it up to anybody, anywhere, anything, any topic. Come now.
I went blank here. I think so.
Well, with my back feeling like this, I'm not going to drag it on too much longer. I can tell you that.
I don't blame you.
We will take an early night tonight if that's okay with everybody.
Okay.
I cover it well, but I'm in a lot of pain right now. It's lower back. You can see I've got the belt on.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm wearing this to hold my gut up. I don't know. Maybe it's a bra for my belly.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, yeah, the back's really bad, and it's been getting worse all week. And I want to put a hex beam up this weekend, and I can't do it with a trashed back. Well, I'll probably just eat a bunch of Advil and do it anyway.
The only thing I've got, and I haven't really got a huge amount of information on it because I played on it last night, but there is a guy who's got a YouTube channel called Steve. I met him up at Orlando. It's called Temporary Offline Ham Radio, and he does a little contest that lasts an hour on a Thursday night. I think it's 8 till 9. It's called FT8OFF. And it looks like it's kind of funny. Last night he had 45 people enter it. I didn't come last, and I went in like a half an hour that it was on. You have to set up FT8 to report to a website, and your results come up on the website instantly, so you can see what you're doing. I don't know whether that might be fun. It seemed to be fun last night, but that's the only real thing that I've got new this week that I've been playing with.
Well, there's the website there for you guys that are looking for it. Just search for Temporarily Offline Ham Radio in YouTube, and it'll come right up.
Yeah, I'll give it a go properly next week, and I'll let you know whether it's, it's a fun thing. It's Thursday night. Maybe, we could do it once a month or something. It's every week. And I met Steve, really nice guy. He's into kits. If you look at his website, he makes lots of kits, does QRP, and a little bit of a programmer and stuff. Quite a nice guy. We chatted for quite a while because I like building stuff. So, in fact, he was the one who told me about that kit, that QRP 4-channel kit.
Oh, the QRP Labs?
Yeah, QRP Labs kit. It's still not available. Let me just check. But I don't think it is. I looked this morning. No, it's not available yet. But
I've got a couple of his rigs that I'm trying to get some time to build.
Yeah. Well, he's an English guy, but he lives in Turkey. His wife's Turkey.
Yeah.
But he's got a distributor here who's got most of the things in.
Because when I ordered my 2 kits, they came out of Missouri.
Yes. Yeah, that's the guy that handles it all for him. So it's kind of cool. I like his stuff. I haven't got anything yet, but I will. There's a few things I like, but I really like the look of that little FT8, digital mode only, 4-channel transceiver. Yeah, that's the score. Is that scoreboard from yesterday? Yeah, you'll see me right down the bottom somewhere.
Wow, this is from 3.4. This is an old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 3.4.
But I just want to show you guys what it looks like.
And this is live. This is active whilst he's on the thing. I mean, if you got nothing to do on a Thursday, it might be. But looks like we got lots of other things going on Thursday nights. But
busy.
If you're into FT8, it's something else you can do. Then you can get, extra score for QRP. You get extra score for DX. I think you get extra score for working a POTUS station. I don't know, the rules are all there somewhere.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And it's a weekly thing. You don't have to. At the moment, they haven't got an ongoing kind of rolling score, but they are going to do that. Say last night he had 45 enters. One of them were just a couple of 3 or something. But I made, usual couple of Japanese and an Australian, which really bumped me up. And I was on 17 meters, I think, last night. So I've been doing really good on the top bands over the last few weeks now. 17, 30, 15, all the odd ones, 12. 12, I spent a little while this afternoon on 12. Which was kind of fun. So I'm still, rattling on with my indoor antenna. I did see something that I'll let you know about, Ian. I saw a chat about using modeling software for antennas. That might be something. I might download that and play around with it. Because what was interesting is that the 5-degree point on an antenna is what's really important if you're looking for DX, not the big, lobes that stick out on these antennas. Right. It's really the 5-degree, because you want to get low to the earth and bang it off and go loud if you're looking for the DX. So I was interested in what you said about the testing an antenna that in Cape Coral somewhere. I might try to go to that, but how do you test the best antenna? I mean, you've got to define what that is first, haven't you? What are you looking for, DX or?
I like I said, it's not my thing. It's the Charlotte County group that's doing that. I'm not sure exactly what they're looking for. It does say in the narrative, if you look in the newsletter, it does say in the narrative there the three types of antennas they're starting with, and they're inviting anybody else to bring the same basic type of antenna. I believe there are verticals they're working with, HF verticals. But
Okay.
it's all in the newsletter in there.
So that'll be low profile, low takeoff. Interesting, that picture you just looked at that you've got running there, that guy in the bottom left-hand corner, Carlos, talk about extreme. He does QSOs whilst he's parachuting down from the airplane to Earth.
Oh, I like this guy already. Because first he's already got bigger balls than I do.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I know whether he's got bigger balls or
I meant the figurative kind,
Yeah, 0 cents, one of the two. But he does. That's extreme amateur radio. He does. I only just noticed him there. I wasn't really looking last night. I was trying to set up the page, but I figured by looking at it, that was actually last night's 317. No.
This is last night.
Okay, so I'm there somewhere. Right near the bottom. Scroll down again.
I can't. That's them scrolling, not me.
Oh, okay. No, I was.
Video.
Yeah, I was way down. There was 45 people in last night, and I did make it into the 30s. I think I was 38 or 39, something like that. But I didn't start till halfway through the program. But I don't know. I thought it might be something. I mean, I'm definitely going to go have a go at it next Thursday, I think. I don't think I'll do it every week.
I just love it because these guys are fellow broadcasters. They're getting ham radio on YouTube, which is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've seen Steve, he's in the top left-hand corner. I haven't seen any of the other 3 or 4. So, I've seen Carlos, but only because I read something about him parachuting, so I don't know. Yeah, they got some good followers. But anyway, that's all I've got.
Well, that's pretty cool. I like that. Seeing if they got a. They actually have a. Oh, they got last night's scoreboard posted.
Oh, there you go. Scroll down. There you go. 39. I only made 4 QSOs.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got 6 points.
Sweet. I had something.
Well, that's cool, man. They put this right up afterwards. That's pretty cool.
Do you have what it takes to be a war criminal?
Yeah, all their stuff's here. Everything.
Yeah, the setup's really easy. You have to set up FT8 to do report, under the thing, and you have to put your power and save it in your saved file, and then it goes off and does everything else. I was setting it up, and then all of a sudden I saw I was on their chart, last. I was just kind of not really playing around. Just, I was playing around. I wasn't planning on doing it seriously. But I thought, this looks like it's got a bit of potential.
Yeah, that looks like fun. Look at these guys that are on the air. Do you believe it?
Noonan Tornado.
Jeez, look at that. These guys here.
That was last week, though, wasn't it?
No, it's live right now. That's us right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can go to this and we can watch ourselves.
What's the delay?
Oh, it's probably about a minute.
Yeah, I want to be a bit smarter on YouTube. I want to do the split like you do, with 2 cameras and get camera better than I've got. I mean, I've got a really good camera. It's on the Mac, but it's a little bit too high and a little bit too far away. I want to get one, do it a little better.
Now, if I leave this here long enough, we'll eventually have a picture and a picture and a picture and a picture and a picture, and it'll look like that tunnel that you get with the mirrors.
Oh, like the Mormons at their weddings.
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm like, I'm getting ready to click it again. So when I click it again now, we're going to have a picture within a picture within a picture within a picture. Here we go.
Here we go.
There, now we got a picture within a picture within a picture within a picture. Oh, that's great. You gotta love it. Anyway, all right, that's been fun. I'm trying to think of what else there is. I'd like to have that Buckingham event they had this last weekend, but it was during the week, so I can't go.
No, there's an interesting one I read that interested me. Actually, I didn't read it all, but I believe Fort Myers are doing some kind of outing at a railway museum.
Yeah,
Did
that's
anyone?
yeah.
I haven't even heard about that yet.
That's Bob Lewis, W8GU, is involved in that. It's sometime next month, but I forgot exactly when.
Yeah, it was in the newsletter. I want to follow up on that. I want to look at the railway, because I'm kind of interested in railways, so that's something that kind of appealed to me. I don't know. Are they actually going to do an event? I didn't read the newsletter fully.
I don't know what there is to that event. I know their big event of the year is the Buckingham event, and it just ended a couple days.
It just ended a couple of days ago. Yeah, I couldn't make that.
They have their two big events of the year. One's held half on the weekend, and one's held all on weekdays. So it makes it very difficult for members that are.
They are doing a picnic next weekend.
Who's that for?
The FMARC is doing a picnic.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I no longer get invites either, so there you go.
Okay. Yeah, at the end of the month, for the Florida QSO party, we're putting on an event down right by Naples Airport. Two of our members own a company making streetlights. Now, you would not believe the technology that goes into streetlights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they've got cell phones in every single street light. They've got a router, a 5G router in every single street light. All the street lights talk to each other. I mean, it goes on and on and on. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, they've been doing most of the street lights in Collier and quite a few in Lee. The company is successful in the fact that it's selling lots and lots, but they're using all the money to buy the stuff to sell lots and lots, so they're all kind of broke. But they've put up an antenna and everything, and it's indoors. It's quite nice. So we're going to do the Florida QSO party from there, which is the only contest I really take seriously, mainly because one of our members, George, who died a couple of years ago, he still holds one of the records in the Florida QSO party. He was a big contester, but I like the Florida QSO party.
Yeah, we usually do the Georgia QSO party because it's the first part of April. I think it's around April. I think it's the weekend of April 10th. Then the Florida one, I tell everybody up there about the Florida QSO party. So we try to operate Georgia. We got 159 counties to try and catch. So
wow,
Georgia has a lot of counties.
159.
Some of them are fairly small, but they've got a lot of counties.
Yeah. We got more counties than any state east of the Mississippi.
Georgia QSO party is April 9th.
Yeah, okay.
But what pisses me off about the Florida QSO party, and I'm just going to look at it now, is, the results are still being processed from 2021.
Oh, really?
Come on. What is the excuse? COVID?
I mean, it's really difficult to encourage, because last year, the year before last, 2020, we came 8th as a club And that was because everyone was allowed to operate from home and add them all together. And I coordinated that, and I got a lot of guys on the air. So, we did 2021 hoping we could get in the top 5 of clubs, which is, for a tiny little club like us, stuck down in the bottom of Florida, is kind of tough. So we did. We put on a big effort. Lots of people entered, and we're still sitting now, 11 months later, waiting for the results. How am I going to encourage people to enter if we haven't got the results from a year ago? You're not going to be able to, So I haven't pushed it this year. We're going to do an event, and, it's the thing I like about it is it's over 2 days, but it doesn't, I can't remember the exact times, but like it finishes at 10 o'clock on the Saturday and it doesn't start till 8 o'clock on the Sunday.
Okay, I was going to ask if it's 2 different operating times. And one of the differences between Georgia and Florida is that Florida doesn't do 80 meters.
No.
What the rationale behind that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got the rules. Yeah, here we go. It's 1600 Zulu. That's whatever. Yeah. I'll do. Yeah, it's noon until.
I think it's noon to 10.
It's noon till 10.
Okay.
And 8 until 6.
Yeah.
So you get an 8-hour break in the middle, which is
Hello,
kinda
everybody.
Cool. Oh,
What's
hi,
up, Joseph? How's it going, buddy?
Hey, sorry I wasn't there at the beginning, but my mom's birthday party is tomorrow, and I was.
You're fine, dude. I had it. We got it.
Really
Yeah,
I wanted to
Joseph.
show you all my talent.
We're fine, dude. We're a team. As long as one of us is here, we're good.
Yeah. Don't
All
mention
right.
roundabouts, Joseph. Don't mention roundabouts. I did once and got away with it.
Oh, you're
Did
walking
you
on.
get away with it? I'm not sure.
We almost had a nuclear war over that subject.
I need a. You guys are
We're
always.
gonna call Putin to get his opinion.
Unbiased opinion, yeah.
Hey, y'all have knowledge on things sometimes. So if you look on my camera at the top of there, you can see that light that just turned on. That's probably dark except for the light, but
Yeah.
you see the light and then it fades out, and then after about a second, it comes back on. That's my tower light.
Okay.
And the problem is I've tried 2 different methods now to get a fading light up there, and both have caused horrible interference when I actually want to use the radio. The first one, the way I did it, I had a Texas Instruments 555 timer and a capacitor and a transistor, and I made a little circuit that would just make the LED breathe on and off. It's called a breathing effect.
Yeah.
Problem was, every time it completed a cycle, it would go over the band, and it would sound like a fart on the radio, no matter where you were tuned.
I know the old rheostats used to create so much interference, it was crazy. That's simply a dimming process too. So, Joseph, can I just mention one thing? I think it's hilarious that you spent all this time, energy, and money trying to make a new light do what an old light used to do all the time.
Well, that's the problem. That's why I'm asking you guys.
I know, but it's fun.
It's so I tried the 555 timer and a capacitor method, and every time it completed a cycle, it would emit a fart of RF over the airwaves, up all the way up into 440 megahertz. Like, it was weird.
Wow.
Every 10 or so seconds, it would go over the radio.
But what you could do is if you buy one of those 2 RPM motors from Amazon, which are about, I don't know, $10 or less, I think there's $6, put a light on the top of there with a black shield at the back of it, and you would have the same effect. It would just go round, so it would appear to become brighter and then go dimmer as it went round.
That's not a bad idea, actually. I could put an actual thing up there. Well, let me tell you my second thing I tried. So I took an Arduino and programmed it with the stock fade script, which is a PWM. It dims the LED by using PWM. It speeds up and slows down. Well, let me tell you about the interference that thing made. Holy cow. It sounded like an engine revving up and revving down on when you switch to the radio, because it's essentially acting as a big old transmitter for radio signals, and you look at it on the waterfall, and it looked like some kind of psychedelic weird pattern. So that's what it's
where
currently.
Are you putting the actual equipment at?
So the Arduino and it also has an amplifier for the light, because the Arduino can't supply enough current by itself. But it's just sitting on top of the power supply for my other stuff. But
I mean, it may just be that you separate all that stuff from everything else. Really, just put it in a different room or something.
Well, I'm gonna try that, but I suspect it won't help, because I have a 100-foot length of Ethernet running up to that light, and I'm just using 2 of the leads to power the light. So that's acting like a giant antenna. So I'm wondering if there's another way, because I looked on Amazon for a breathing LED. All I could find was lights that blink. I wanted to actually fade like an old radio tower, and I couldn't find anything that faded.
Well, you can get a
mechanical. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you can get a really upmarket 12-volt 2 RPM motor for $15, and you can get a really low-grade motor, same thing, for $397. So there you go, and anything in between.
Yeah, I probably so I could say you have like the little dome up there, which is what the lights are inside. I would put the motor. I'm trying to think how I would do that mechanically. You said to have
these motors look like they fit right inside of a piece of plastic tubing, like 1.25 inch plastic tubing. They look like they're designed for it. Well,
yeah, but the thing is, how do I mechanically brighten and dim an LED? I'd have to put like a
no, have the LED going all the time.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying,
and then rotate a screen around it like a plastic cup, so you only see out through the one hole.
Well, that would be like a rotating beacon light.
Yeah, it would, but it would appear to get brighter and dimmer as it went round.
If I did if I took a piece of plastic and I tinted it somehow, then you could have a fading effect.
Well, you would have a fading effect if you just allowed it out. Say you had 20-degree aperture in something, or maybe a little more than that, 40-degree aperture. As that aperture went round, it would appear to get brighter as it came towards you, and then dimmer as it went away from you.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Can I share a screen?
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Hang on. This is technology gone crazy. Here we go. Hang on. So if I share the screen, I go there. This is the upmarket one.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah, high torque geared motor. Yeah.
So that would go round at 2 RPM. Now I saw somebody make a motor for a Moxon, make a rotor for a Moxon with one of these, and it fits straight inside 1.5 inch tube. I don't know if it's got the dimensions here anywhere, but that's an expensive one. You can buy them.
Yeah, you can get them pretty cheap
for a fraction of that. It's a 10mm drive.
I could 3D print to make that work.
Yeah. Actually, you see what I mean? And that would look really cool going round with.
Yeah, it would be like Well, what's the But you don't think that would make just as much interference with a DC motor up there next to a sensitive radio? Is it going to cause just as much noise?
Well, they've been using it for a rotor.
Yeah, but when you're turning your antenna, you're not concerned about
the motor. Brushes, yeah, you're gonna have RFI.
But this thing needs to be on 24/7, or at least at night, but not put out RFI. That's the goal: is to have a fading light without putting out any RFI. And I feel like a DC motor up there might be lower noise than these other things, but it also might, because you have little sparks.
What if
I did put
choked
chokes?
The shit out of that.
I did. So I took 3 real big chokes and I put it in a coil around I looped it a few times and everything, and that brought it down. That brought the noise down pretty good on some bands, but other bands it just completely overpowers it. Like I'm gonna run it and show you on the radio. It's on right now. You'll see what it's like. I did put the chokes and that did improve it, but it didn't fix the problem.
I don't know. It says it's good for robots and things and smart homes. I mean, look, it says it's super performance.
Plugged in.
They're smooth, durable,
Okay.
energy saving.
Hear that?
Hang on.
That's coming
What's
from
that?
this little thing. It's an Arduino with an amplifier transistor, and then you can see the light there fading on and off.
Yeah, but you got it right by your radio, and you haven't got it in a shielded case or anything.
Yeah, that's true.
And what have you done for grounding, and what have you done to, you know? Oh, you've got a filter there, some kind of bandpass filter, but those toroids are too far apart to be really effective.
Well, they definitely made the noise go down. Like, at least they have the noise level on some bands, but it's still
Okay,
pretty
well,
bad.
put them closer together, and they'll
like-
be, yeah, and not such a big loop,
Really? Okay.
and that should improve the performance, and it might improve the performance if you, yeah, because you need that top loop gone away as well.
Smaller? I gotta
Okay.
open them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with most people when they do RFI blocking, which is what you're doing there, is that they don't put them they've got to be really close together to be effective.
I didn't know that.
As close as you can get.
Hear it when
Let's have a look now without them on.
with that.
24 point. Yeah, but what's the S meter? I can't see it.
On this band, on this band it happens to be pretty low. Let's go.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Yes.
If I turn this thing off, you doesn't see much of a difference in the S meter, but you can hear. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to remember what band it's strongest on.
And what kind of filtration have you got on the input stage? And I guess it's running off of 5 volts. So how are you getting 5 volts from 12?
Well, here, so this is, you really don't see anything on the S meter, but you hear it. That's what it sounds like with no filter. Let me add this back in, like you said. So
and
the power
as tight as you can get it.
The power is done in 2 ways. So the Arduino is powered off a USB cube for 5 volts, and then I have my 12-volt rail here running off the radio power supply, which goes into these 2 transistors to act as an amplifier.
And you've got like no grounding or.
Well, the radio itself is not grounded to anything except for through the actual power ground. This whole thing is connected to the negative on this, which is grounded.
Is it grounded? The negative is actually grounded, or is it just? It doesn't look to me like it's grounded. It's just a negative. The negative side of a power supply usually isn't grounded.
Well, now that would be weird, because then if you ground something else that is like the radio, wouldn't that ground it then to everything? Because
no, because normally you ground the radio, which grounds the antenna cable and all the rest of it, but the negative power cord to ground will still be effectively open circuit or whatever resistance or whatever is in the circuit.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it would always be.
It's negative. It's not ground. It's negative.
The 2 are used interchangeably, it seems like, in a lot of applications.
No, in AC they are, but not in DC.
Oh, okay. Let me put these on here and see if it sounds better.
Yeah, as tight as you can get it. I'd get that like twice as tight, but try that.
Can't go much more than that. They are.
Oh no, the top bit you could get joining together. That loop at the top, you could take out 1 inch or 2 out of that. But try that and see if it's any better.
Okay, let me plug it back in here.
But to me, you've got nowhere for the noise to get shunted out.
It's a little bit quieter, I think, but not much. So you're saying, like this thing here, right? It has a ground. It says ground, and it has a little little this, and then the radio.
Yeah, but you got nothing connected to it.
Yeah. So the radio has that as well. So should I connect those? You think that'll?
Might be a good
No,
idea.
because you're not. Yeah, it might be better, but you're not connecting them to a ground. What you need is a bus, a ground bus, with everything going to that. So the radio goes to the bus, the power supply goes to the bus, your rig blaster or whatever it is, that rig thing you've got there with all the terminals on, that goes to the same ground point. So you ground everything.
Yeah, you need to have everything grounded.
So I could. Well, I only have only the radio has a ground terminal on it, and this little bar here. The power supply doesn't have a ground terminal like this.
Okay, but you can just screw it to the chassis.
Screw it to the chassis, yeah.
But if you ground those two together, all you've got then is you haven't got it grounded. You've just got the two grounds connected together.
Yeah.
You need to. That might improve it, but you need a ground. You need to
like
take
a rod
it,
outside.
Yeah, 8 foot. Yeah. Hammer that into the ground and then get a good.
I had one in Florida. I haven't put one in this house.
That's like I've got several ground rods outside. They're about 6 feet apart. There's several of them. They're all connected with number 2 copper wire, and they're all connected into the utility ground.
Yeah.
And the telephone wire ground, into the cable TV ground, and everything else is grounded and run all the way around the house.
And that'll make a huge difference to the noise, because it's got, if you look at the power supply, that'll have a bunch of capacitors and LC networks and everything going to ground, but you haven't got anywhere for it to. The ground is floating above. The potential of ground is floating above. What is ground? So you've got several issues of stuff floating around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a big deal.
Up.
There's hundreds of people work like that, but and some people, they manage to ground their coax somehow or other, and they use the coax as a ground.
See, I have all of my cables that come in here they all come through a common ground point.
Yeah.
And each of them has.
Right. Okay.
So, but they're all
Kind of
grounded together. And they're grounded to this grounding system I was just describing too.
Yeah.
It's not.
That might be a good topic. Oh, he's gone.
Well,
no,
you know what's weird? I did put the hack RF on this little thing, the ham it up converter. I had it connected to the antenna yesterday, and I put the hack RF on it, and I was not seeing the interference on the waterfall, and I was not hearing. But then I put the RTL SDR on there, this little thing, and it saw the interference. And I don't know what was different about the setup. I didn't do any grounding. My only guess would be that, this has a metal, I don't know. But it's just weird. I'm gonna hook up the grounds like you said.
And try, absolute worst case would be to ground it to the power socket coming out of the wall. But that would be my absolute last case, because, the wiring in houses is not fantastic. The ground has multiple ground loops where it goes all over the place. But the only thing you have got is low frequency at 60 hertz, which might introduce hum, but if
you tune down to 60 hertz, you'll definitely get in there. I can't.
So.
How many conductors are you running up to that light? How many do you actually need?
I just have the blue and blue stripe on an Ethernet cord.
Yeah.
I don't need the other.
I say it often. You know what a piece of wire is, don't you?
What?
You know what a piece of wire is?
Yeah.
A piece of wire. What is it?
An antenna?
It's an antenna.
Well, yeah, that's what.
So the more pieces of wire you got, the more antennas you got.
Yeah, I know. I said that earlier. I've got like 100 foot of Ethernet here.
Power for your light up to a piece of coax.
Yeah.
And then you better out of that shield and then your power goes up to that center conductor.
And the thing is that you've got that on a breadboard, which is fine. You know, you're making a proof of principle, but really, you know, you're
Yeah, it should all
dealing.
be soldered.
Like mad.
It's well, it should be soldered. It should be in a, you know, fairly rigid case that, you know,
Yeah, I'm
filters
gonna
out
do that.
stuff. I mean, and you've got a timer as well, which is really an oscillator.
Well, that's not. Well, there's the Arduino, but I was using a timer, but I stopped using a timer because of the noise it made.
Yeah. Well, an Arduino's an oscillator, isn't it? It's a timer.
Sure it is.
Yeah, kind of.
It's a counter, so that's a timer, and it's counting something, so it's got to be counting. And if it counts in fast, it's counting a frequency, so it's, you know, it's probably generating RF.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's what the
Generate RF hash.
you can hear it rev up and rev down as the light dims.
Well, that kind of narrows it down, then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. If I stop it for a second,
Don't tell me it goes away.
yeah, it does. If I reset, it goes silent.
Yeah. Okay, that looks pretty good.
Those are so bad. Really bad. So I'm gonna ground everything together. I'm gonna put this in a metal box. I'm gonna ground.
But don't daisy chain them. You know what I mean by daisy chain? Take one to the other, to the other, to the other. Don't do that.
I
Have
was
a
gonna
solid.
put them all to here. I was gonna put them all in this terminal here.
But if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, go into the electrical section. Go into the section that where they have the panels that go into the wall in your garage or whatever, where you have all the breakers.
Mm-hmm.
Go there and you will see somewhere there they'll have a bar.
Oh, I've seen those. It's
The
like
screws that go in?
Screws. Yeah.
They're peanuts. You can buy one that's got, I don't know, 25, maybe 30. You don't need one like that, but you can get one with 10, you know, holes in it that screws in. And then you can screw that to somewhere, it doesn't matter where, put a ground to wherever you're grounding, and screw everything else, a wire, a single wire from everything else into that. That's not going to be the best, but it's one hell of a lot better. You know, the thing is, the difference between that and the best is probably only 5% as far as performance is concerned. But the difference between that and nothing is 95%.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, so that's what I do here. I mean, if I had a separate camera, I'd show it to you. Literally screwed to the top of my desk is one of those bars, and then every single piece of equipment runs from there to that thing. You got it?
I just need those.
Yeah.
And put one on the radio as well. So how would you ground? So like this thing though, how would I ground that? Because you say that
you put it in some kind of case so that it's shielded,
and then
you would ground it. I mean, I'm assuming there is a ground in the USB, and then there's got to be a common ground for the.
Well, that's the thing. I'm still confused on the difference between the negative lead and ground, because they're often, even in DC, it seems like they're used interchangeably. I mean, this has a shield supposedly, but that's
there's a ground on that board. There's got to be, and that's probably the negative, like you're saying. But look, what you can do, literally, you can do it as simple as literally just switching off that. It looks like a rig blaster bar or whatever. Switch that off. Get the DVM, digital voltmeter. Put it on ohms. Put the negative side of the ohms, or just one clip one onto that earth terminal, and put the other one into the negative, and see what you get.
Guys, I'm going to take my leave at this time. I've made Joseph the host, and I'm turning over hosting duties to him. My back is done. I'm going to go. Joseph, I wanted to mention two things real quick before I go, and then I'll leave this back to you guys. And it is an interesting discussion. I'll probably watch the rest of it later. But Joseph, I bought a hex beam.
Yeah, you sent me a text about it.
I told you that. I'm going to be working on that this weekend. I also paid for our family of websites today. They're full.
I saw that too. Yeah.
So some good news coming down. So everybody, please like and subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification bell. Have a great weekend. This is going to be the best weather for the next 7 months. All right,
Yeah,
and
well,
you guys have a great weekend. And I'm going to see you guys on Thursday night for the WatchNet and Friday night next week for the TechNet. So I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm going to leave. Joseph, you got it.
All right, I'll shut
Okay.
it down when we're done, I guess.
7-3.
When we're done, just end the meeting, okay? And it'll end the YouTube and everything.
Okay.
good.
Unless you want to end the YouTube earlier, that's your discretion.
All right.
I'll
How do I
catch
end
you
the
guys
YouTube
later.
if it's? Hold on.
It's
How
the
can I
three
end
little
the
dots on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm on the phone right now. Stop live stream. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, you got it there. But yeah, just
All right.
whenever you want, it's fine. You guys have a good one. I appreciate it, and I'm going to go ahead and say 7 threes. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Ian.
Please.
7-3.
All right, so look
Okay,
at
so
this.
so
I
you got 0 ohms.
Nope, hold on. So I put ground connected to the negative port, and I put this on the terminal, and it says
Open
nothing.
circuit. Okay, now just to be doubly sure, stick the one that you. That's it. You got it. What's it say? There you go. So that ground. Now the other thing you can do, leave the ground connected inside on that bar.
Yeah.
And put the other onto the power supply, onto the negative of the power supply, at the power supply.
0.0 ohms.
Okay, so that's short. Okay, now
'Cause
put it to the case of the power supply.
Nothing.
Open circuit.
Although it has a paint on it, so it might be.
Oh, yeah. Well, get one of the screws that's on the back or something.
Yeah. Let's see here.
It's anodized by the looks of it, so anodizing is pretty good.
I don't think I can say like scrape it or something.
No, there should be a screw there somewhere. Well, there you go. So that proves what I was saying, though. Basically, the ground, the negative is negative. It's not grounded.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Hold on. It read something for a second because I made a little spot on here. Let me try and get that. It read something for a second there.
Yeah, that might be, because you got the leads going all over the place. It might be picking up. So that's a fluke. That's a good one.
Yeah, I got it for my birthday. Oh, what did it say there? It said something for a sec. Oh,
That might be the thing pulsing.
oh, you think
You've got another bunch of antennas there, dragging around all over the place.
No. Well, I can't get it to replicate that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say that that's an open circuit as well.
Yeah. So it gives you some idea,
Yeah. So if I was distracted before. So if I put this thing in a metal case, right? You want to ground the metal case, but not the negative lead.
No.
Okay.
But ground the case to the bus bar where you've got all your other equipment going to, and the bus bar, try to get it into, a ground if you can. I mean, worst case is a piece of copper pipe of your plumbing, but half the time that's plastic nowadays. It's Plex.
Yeah. I'd put an actual rod in the ground like I did before.
Yeah, this I know it's a little bit early, but this is a great stocking filler.
What is this? Grounding. It turns blurry. I can't read it. It's blurry.
Because it's looking for me. Hang on. There you go.
Ground and bonding. Is that what that says? Yeah. Ground and bonding.
Bonding for the radio amateur.
Actually, that would be really cool because I want to know how to make this thing not attract light.
There you go. From the ARRL. Oh.
Is there an online version? Can I read it as a PDF or something?
I have no clue. This is the second edition. As you can see, it's pretty beaten up.
I tell you what, you can order those ARRL books on Amazon. I hate to give Amazon any business, but you can often get them cheaper on there than you can through the league itself.
The really good bet is if you like this book here, I didn't buy, because if you go to Hamcation or Hamvention or any of the things where the ARRL is, if you rejoin, regardless if you got 2 months, 3 months or whatever, they give you a free book. So I went up to Orlando just for the day, paid my membership for another year, which I think doesn't expire until November or something, but I added another year to it. And I asked them for this book, and they didn't have it there, but they posted it to me. So it says on here it's $25, but I'm sure it's not. But not only does it give you really...
Oh, I've got that book. That's a good one.
It is. It's a good book. It's not to any standard. So it's not like having the, the electrical engineer's, grounding manual and stuff.
Yeah.
But
So that'd be pretty cool.
yeah, it's a really good stocking filler. Because it's one of the few books that I've kind of read all of it. Rather than, it's almost like a story of RF getting rid of it.
I need to get that book and read it and from cover to cover, because we have storms around here, and I like having my radios up and running during a storm. I don't want to go out there and lower the tower every time it comes by.
You've got a problem there, because if you want to keep your, you've got you've got an RF stick, conductor that you're pointing at the sky.
I know.
So it doesn't really matter what you do unless you do what I do, is put all your antennas in the attic.
The thing is, the weird thing is, people have told me that if you unground the tower and make sure it's not grounded, then it becomes invisible to lightning, is what they've said.
Okay, best of luck with that one. that's all I got to say. Yeah, that's like you walking through a field, I mean, let's face it, you walking through a field and the field's got a tower in the middle, who do you think the lightning's going to strike, you or the tower?
Yeah.
Or whether it's grounded or not.
Yeah, I mean, lightning strikes friggin' umbrellas, for goodness sake,
If that tower's not grounded, that lightning's going to come down your coax, and it's going to come inside.
Yes.
Well, I know. And they say they're telling me that if you disconnect the coax and the tower is not grounded any other way, that it would be, the lightning would not come to it because there would be no floating current on it. Like a tower, like any item, any area of land can have a charge build up on it. And so if your tower isn't grounded, then the charge won't build up on the tower because it's not connected to the surrounding area, is what I feel like they said. But
well, there's one other thing there. Is
that would, in my book, that earns 5 pooping bulls.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was going to say. I mean, if you look at, I don't know, anything. I mean, just look at performance of an antenna over salt water against over the desert. There's a huge difference in the performance, and it's the same with. So basically, if there's moisture in the ground, and we know that air is a pretty good insulator. It's not the best, but it's a pretty good insulator. And you've got a steel, aluminum or whatever mast sticking up towards the electric, up towards the lightning. What's it going to choose?
Yeah.
It doesn't care whether it's grounded at the other end or not.
Well, that's the thing. If it's going to strike, it's going to choose the easiest path to ground, right?
Yeah.
That's standard. That's the standard thing. But where does it strike, and how does it choose where to come down? Because if it just always took the easiest path to ground, then it seems like it would strike the same place in one area over and over and over and over.
Well, yeah, it doesn't sit up there and says, "Oh, eeny, meeny, miny, mo,"
Yeah.
It strikes whatever's closest to it. It's nothing to do with the easy. It's the easiest path that's closest to it.
But why is that not always the same? Is my question.
Why is what?
Well, why is that not always the same? Like we had the tower was.
Well, the other thing is that lightning doesn't always start in the same place.
Well, yeah. Well, okay, so we had a storm we had a storm 2 or 3 days ago. 2 days ago. and the tower was not all the way up. It was it was only at 20 foot. And we had a lightning strike it was across the road from us in a church nearby. I'd say it was about, I don't know how many feet, maybe 1,000 feet, if that. No, it's probably more than 1,000 feet, maybe 2,000 feet. It was pretty close. It was close enough to see from our window, and I caught it on my camera because the camera was pointed right at it. Anyway, it struck over there, but it didn't strike us.
Yeah. Well,
So why didn't it strike the tower? Because it seems like that would be a much quicker and easier path to ground than the dirt field.
Well, it depends, because it doesn't come from directly above. It could have been coming from 3 or 4 miles away, and it would have then been on a low trajectory, and the church mast was taller than yours, I'm guessing. I mean, lightning very rarely, I mean, you know, if you count the difference between the lightning strike and the thunder, both of them occur at the same time, but we hear the thunder much later than the lightning, because lightning travels at 300 million meters per second, and thunder travels at 700
Speed of sound.
miles per hour or whatever it is. You know, I mean, it's significantly slower. If you count the seconds, that roughly equates to a mile. So if you see the lightning, count until you hear the thunder, say it's 5, then the actual storm is 5 miles away. So it's going to be at an angle hitting you. If it was 20 miles away, it would be on a very shallow angle.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the thing is, it hasn't really got time to sit there and say, well, is that apple tree got less resistance than that mast? And there's nothing to say that it won't strike multiple times. If you've got...
Oh, yeah, I know it'll strike multiple times in them.
If you've got time and you want to see what lightning does, there is and I'll see if I can find it for next week, and I'll let you have it. There is a guy who lives up somewhere near Hilton Head, up in, what would that be, North Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah, he goes out onto the beach when there's a storm coming, and he'll hammer, I don't know, these spikes into the ground. They go about 6 or 7 feet into the ground, and they stick up in the air about 20 feet. And each of those will get hit either the same time or whatever by lightning, and it turns the sand that these spikes are stuck into the sand into glass, and he has all these weird glass sculptures.
Wow.
But he never gets just one. When he goes back in the morning after the storm, he's got maybe 20 of these spikes in, and on all of them is some kind of sculpture in glass. Because, you know, sand is glass. You just heat it up and it melts and it becomes glass.
Yeah.
And he's got these sculptures, but every single one gets hit. You know, some more than others, some differently than others. And he's got some video of like it being struck, and it's like unreal. But the thing is, he's right out in the middle on the beach. I'm going to guess at least half a mile, probably a mile from anyone else. So he's wagging these steel bars in the air. They look like they're rebars, to be honest. And that's where the lightning goes, because it says, okay, there's a place I can go. I don't think it's looking for the path of least resistance. I'm just thinking it's looking for a path. But I don't know. I'm no scientist. I'm no extra. But I think, you know, lightning is looking for a path. Yeah. Not necessarily the least path.
Hey, Joseph, if you want to read a good website on how a ham radio station is grounded, there's a guy in Georgia. His name is Tom Roush.
I'll be back in a second. I'll be back in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to look for him. What did you say, Tom Roush?
Yes.
What, like the racing?
W8JI. Just look up the call sign, W8JI. He has a big contest station up there near Macon, Georgia. It's just off I-75.
I used to go to Macon all the time.
Yeah. W8JI is his call. And he knows his stuff. He's got several 200 and 300 foot towers. And he's got all that wired and everything. But that's always
Antennas. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Balance sleeves, balance, curtain array, gain. I'm looking for grounding.
yeah. He's got a lot in there about grounding too, and how he does it and all that. Some of what I did was model after what he did.
So there's always somebody, if you can search long enough.
Yeah.
Oh, he actually uses the towers as an antenna.
Yeah, he does that too.
So I guess that's probably part of a beverage antenna or something.
Oh yeah, he's got some big antennas. He's got a repeater, I think, and then he's got several HF antennas, and I mean he has got an enormous station. But the point is, if you look at the way he sets up the cables coming into the station and all that, that's what's important to know about.
Yeah, I can't actually find. I'm sure.
So my best bet for reliability, and if it were to get struck, my current understanding is that I should ground the metal mast. I should put a ground rod down. I should ground the mast. I should ground all my equipment, bond it all together, and then put polyphasers on the incoming coax so that if it does come down, it won't come through the radio. Is that?
I wouldn't use the word won't when lightning's concerned. I'd say it's going to be less likely to. Polyphasers are, definitely ground the mast, and maybe in
the grounding is more
points.
important than the arresters. Now I've got some alpha delta arresters here, but if you read Tom Roush's page, he doesn't use those at all. The point he does is he grounds the coax. He's got loads of coax leads coming in, and he's got them all grounded together. And by ground, he has a system of ground rods, and they're all connected together, and they're also connected to the utility ground. If you have a telephone ground, if you have cable TV ground, all that stuff's hooked together. Because when you have a nearby lightning strike, you have a huge voltage difference between the lightning strike and where you are. And that's what does the damage. So you want to make sure that you've got all that stuff wired together.
Yeah, because basically what will happen is that there will be a potential to the ground.
Yeah.
The ground itself will rise above wherever zero is, wherever its own ground is. And don't forget, when you're talking about RF, which is basically, lightning is RF. It's really high frequency. What is short to DC can be wide open to RF. 20 meters. If you're 20 meters away of a ground rod, you're open circuit as far as RF is concerned.
Yeah, that's right.
So, well, like commercial broadcast towers are just really asking for it. I mean, they're sticking way up there, and
they get hit all the time.
They get hit all the time.
And so how does their equipment survive? Because
because their equipment is not at the tower.
So what are they doing to protect the equipment?
They're going through huge systems to prevent that. They've got, I'm trying to think what it's called. They've got like knife blades and stuff that they open or they'll get blown apart. They've got lightning conductors that actually, they'll short out and force the lightning to Earth. I mean, they've got.
Some of them have lightning gaps.
Yes.
Walls, and one of them they'll be like maybe an inch apart, but and then one of them is grounded and the other one isn't necessarily grounded. And if lightning hits the top of the tower, it's going to jump the gap between those two balls and go to ground instead of going instead of going inside the transmitter shack and blowing up the transmitter. But it's going to do that only if that transmitter is more close to ground than that where you've got it grounded outside. In other words, the idea is you present to the lightning the lowest impedance to ground outside your building. And I think Roush mentions that too.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I found this Tom's. So he's put something here. It's just 4 or 5 lines. He said, damage-prone installations almost always include one or more of the following mistakes. Cable wiring that mixes or combines various impedance systems as sensitive equipment without a common entrance panel. Cables and wiring that routes above ground, especially several feet above ground. An entrance or equipment ground that is not bonded to the mains ground. An equipment ground without an entrance panel or that is not bonded to the entrance panel. So that's basically what you got there. What he's saying is that you've got, a piece of equipment that the antenna is going straight into. It's not bonding to the ground at the entrance to your house, and it's not bonding to your equipment wherever that might be. Actually, this is quite interesting. He's got a thing about lightning strikes here as well. And it goes on and on.
So the cables coming in need to go through a panel which grounds the shield of the coax.
The common point ground plane is what he'll call that.
And then that shield, the coax shield, is also connected to a common ground for all the hardware, the radio and the power supply and the.
All of your shields need to be connected together in this common point ground plane, and then that goes into your grounding system. And that grounding system is all those rods I was describing earlier, which is also grounded to the electrical, to the utility power line ground, and every other ground rod which is around there. They all got to be wired in together. I use 2-gauge wire to do that, which is 4-gauge. Well, 2-gauge would be even better, but
yeah, I use a.
The electrical code specifies 6-gauge, but I went to 4-gauge, which is even bigger.
Yeah, I use all that like webbing stuff. Hang on a second. Antenna grounds lightning.
This is a huge subject. This is something everybody ought to know about, though.
Well, this is the problem, is that I hear just so much conflicting information, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah, well, you're hearing a lot of BS too, unfortunately.
Yes, so because I talked to some people and they're like, "Oh yeah, you just disconnect the radio and there's no way it'll ever get hit."
Well, there is something to be said for disconnecting your radio from both the power and the antenna. And
I know.
But your antennas, you want everything. I know one thing, the electrical code specifies it. When you run lines in through the window or through anywhere else that come from your antenna, they need to go through a common point ground plane, and they need to have some of those arresters too. But the big thing is has to go through your common point ground plane.
Okay.
Right.
But there's nothing you can do to reduce the chances of being hit. All you can do is just safely get the current, as safely as possible.
Is to get the current conducted to the ground.
Okay. But there's nothing at all you can do to reduce the chances of being hit.
No.
Okay.
Because just
Except
like
for lower the antenna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you lower the antenna, and if it's, there's nothing you can do really. I mean, it's the same as you walking down a high street with an umbrella.
Yeah.
If it's a metal shafted umbrella, then it's like wagging a golf club at the air.
Yeah, I know. It's basically a lightning magnet.
What you got to do is minimize your risk. So
minimize the risk of being hit, or minimize the risk of the current coming into the house.
You can't really do anything about minimizing the risk of being hit, but you can minimize the chance, or if you are hit, that getting into your house. Okay. Obviously, the simplest way of doing it is just disconnecting the antenna feed line from coming into your house. A lot of people put a box on the outside of their house, and they've got like a, I don't know what you call it. It's like a knife blade switch
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
that
about.
they switch all their coax to ground when there's a storm. But most people disconnect everything. They just disconnect the antennas and move it away from your equipment. Don't, the coax or whatever you've got, just disconnect it. They disconnect it at the back of their radios, people that I know. But, up north, I used to disconnect it. I never had a noise switch or anything. I used to disconnect it. I had a big box screwed to the wall. I used to disconnect everything. It was mostly disconnected all the time because I worked, so I wasn't always at home when the lightning came along. And, touch wood, most people did that. But they still ground, you still ground and achieve, a service entrance ground and a shack ground, and the mains grounds should be bonded together.
Okay. So an HF, if you've got your feed line coming down your tower and you want to put one of those boxes there to disconnect it, that's all well and good for HF because you can put a junction in there and just, you're not going to lose signal when it's connected. Not very much, at least. But for these higher frequencies like VHF and UHF, I use low loss feed line. I use LMR 400 coming down the tower all the way into here to be as low loss as possible. If I add a little thing in there to shut it off, I'm going to, have 3 dB of loss or whatever per connector.
Yeah, well, you won't get 3 dB per connector, but you'll get maybe 3 dB through all your connectors. But no, I wouldn't think you'd get that much, to be honest.
You won't get that.
Basically, disconnect it. If you're trying to use just one piece of coax, which is great, that's what I try to do, just disconnect it at your radio and leave it lying on the floor.
Okay.
But most, I don't know if I can find anything in here about VHF. VHF and UHF are kind of a little different for grounding because, whatever grounding system you're going to use, you're going to be multiple half waves away from the ground. I mean, literally, my ground here to outside is 50 feet. I've got 50 feet of braided copper wire because, my shack is in the middle of the house. I can't do anything else. And I've got an 8-foot rod hammered all the way down into the soil with only 4 inches sticking up above.
Now sorry to interrupt. This one in the red box, it says that one of the things it lists is cables and wiring that routes above ground, especially several feet above ground. Now my VHF, my LMR 400 runs along the top of the fence and up over the gate so people don't trip on it or walk on it, and then it runs down along the floor of the garage. I guess that's another thing you're not supposed to do.
It's not that you're not supposed to do, it just makes it more prone. Like it says there, damage-prone installations almost always include one or more of the following mistakes. Mm-hmm. So it's but the thing is that if you disconnected it at the garage, it wouldn't really make any difference. I mean, mine come in all over the place, I've got mine coming in all through the attic, the stuff that I've got outside, which isn't much, and I've mostly got sockets outside to connect something to. But if you use good plugs and sockets, I wouldn't worry about thinking about, I'm going to look up and see how much dB loss you have on a connector, but it's not a lot.
Like a Type N?
A Type N will be better than a 239.
Yeah, a Type N is for the higher frequencies the way to go. But
so if you can,
PLG59 is fine.
Is there any disadvantage to using a Type N on HF?
The difference would be minimal.
Yeah.
I know the difference would be minimal, but is there any downside?
You've got to convert somehow or other from a Type N to a 239 on your rig.
Well, yeah, I can get a cable that does that, but
one of the advantages of the ends is they seal up better from water.
Oh, that's
They
a
do,
big
yeah.
advantage. Yeah.
As I know, I've got two PL 259s outside, and I have to wrap them very well in tape. Otherwise, you'll have water getting into your cable. Which is another whole subject. But for VHF, UHF, I've got two end feed throughs. And I've got a line running out to one of the alpha delta arresters, and then you run another end on the other side of that up to the antenna, which is it's a X50N. So that's an end connector also. But the only place I use end connectors is actually if it does 440. 2 meters and 220 are fine, or a 239 is fine. It's just that you've got to seal it up good.
Yeah, so I use LMN 400 for more or less everything. But remember, my installation, everything is inside in the attic, so I'm on a downer already. So
Yeah.
anything I can stop losing anything on, and I'm only running 15, 20 foot lengths. That's it. So it's not costing me an arm and a leg. I mean, if I had a 60-foot tower outside, the chances are I would have to have 100 foot at least of coax to my antenna.
Yeah,
So if you take the losses of that against the losses I've got of 15 feet, another connector is not a big deal. I'm just trying to look of the losses in design, power rating, impedance options. I can't find the impedance. Of course, the loss is going to be different at different frequencies.
Yeah, that's
The higher frequency you go, then the more likely that they are.
At HF, it's negligible.
Yeah. I mean, RG58 is fine at HF, but my theory is, as I'm running such short lengths, and I can swap, the HF cable for the UHF cable or whatever, I can swap them over time. Because nothing I do is ever permanent. I'm always changing everything. But most people do. You're always experimenting with something or other.
W4H.
So whatever you do, in my case, it's always semi.
I got a 100-foot piece of LMR 400 running around the house to the HF antenna up front.
Yeah.
8X would do okay. This is better up at the very higher frequencies, but at 80 and 40 meters, that really doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna get a metal box that I can mount little junctions inside, and then have that at the base of the tower. Sounds like what I need to do.
Yeah.
Where's your tower? Is it fixed to your house or is it separate?
It's fixed to the a wooden fence post in the backyard.
And that's like a fair way from the house or reasonably close?
It's about it's about 15 feet from the wall of that garage.
Okay.
I have a picture of it here.
So I was going to say, let me get rid of this. You might be better. The thing is, whatever you do now, in 6 months' time, you'll probably come up with a better idea. So, okay.
Yeah.
And where's your shack? In that garage where the van's parked?
Yeah.
I'd be tempted to
You can see the house.
level with the roof of the garage, bring the coax across there.
Level with the roof of the garage and
Just bring it straight in through the soffit and into the if you can get it from that sloping roof that's across the top of the garage. And there's a soffit that runs, the roof is larger than the wall, hangs out further than the wall.
yeah.
There will be those little panels inside there where you're to the right of the drain pipe.
So
You can-
right here, put a box.
No, up near the top. Keep going. That's it. There. and go through the soffit, so you don't even have to drill through the garage.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, you
Right.
could do that. But what I would do is from the antenna, you run the line over. I'd run it underground or whatever, and then make sure it's grounded at that point. Make sure your outside your shield is grounded there.
Yeah, but at 15 feet. Now, the other thing is, these wires that are hanging off the mast, are those coax cables?
The black one is, and the white one is the light Ethernet.
Yeah.
And
This I've done this better now. This picture was when I first did it. They're now zip tied to the mast, so they don't.
I was going to say, yeah, they really need to be tied to the mast, because if they're flapping around, you're going to cause all sorts of damage to the cable,
Yeah,
especially when the wind picks up.
Yeah.
So and that's self-supporting, those wires that I can see off of there. That's another
they've
antenna.
Okay, so this is at the top. That's the GP1. That's the VHF UHF.
Yeah, that looks like a diamond or something. Yeah.
It's a comet.
Yeah.
That's a section of PVC.
Oh, okay.
And then right here it transitions into the metal mast and goes the rest of the way down. So right where my cursor is where it transitions to metal. And all the other stuff is up on plastic so that the metal doesn't interfere too bad.
Okay, is that one piece or is it telescopic or something?
It's telescopic. It's 3 pieces. So there's a junction here and a junction there.
Yeah, and a third one higher.
So it's still relatively difficult to bring it down.
Like raise it up and down, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I have a ladder on the other side of the fence here, and whenever I stand on the ladder and I just undo the little screw here and I just lower it down by hand.
Okay.
But then, of course, the cables get all floppy. And if I zip tie it, then you have to cut the zip ties as you lower it down. It's just a problem.
Well, no, what you can get is you can get zip ties that the cable will run through. Or you can make a run through with zip ties. So the cable will run through it when you pull it down. That's quite common with masks, like the hydraulic ones that pump up and whatever.
Yeah.
Or you can, put make something with your, 3D printer that'll fit over the pole that keeps the cables away, maybe, half an inch or an inch. And then
problem. Well, because it's telescopic, you can't really attach anything permanent to.
But you can attach something permanent to the top of the lower section.
Yeah, that's what I've done. That's where they are.
Yeah, so that if you see where that is, if like say 4 inches or so below where you are, if you zip tie that cable there, when it comes down, that cable is going to form a loop below it.
Yeah, that's what it does.
Yeah,
I've got it.
So that's that doesn't seem to be a huge problem. If you definitely bring it down, and I mean, you could make a tilt over base at the bottom if you've got time, if you've got room to fold it over, going along the fence. If you could fold it over going away from the house and just lie on the ground when you've got, I don't know how much room you've got there.
I don't have enough room for that. It would be right now that it has to be in this location because that's the only place where there's enough room for the length of wire for the 40-meter dipole to go.
Okay.
It's even going outside the fence. It's connected to a tree over here.
Well, that's fine. That's not a problem.
They haven't complained yet, thankfully.
I mean, is that kind of like open ground, everyone's ground, or is that somebody else's backyard?
It's like when they're done, there's going to be a fence on the other side and like an area to walk in between here. But right now there's just construction going on over there, so no one really cares. But
Yeah,
the
so
thing is, this is like a temporary house we're in now. This is not supposed to be a permanent thing. So I'm hesitant to do a lot of work on this.
Yeah.
Make it too far.
So this is just somewhere to live because you've just moved up there and you want to get yourself established in that. I mean, what I would do, I would put 3 big ass tie wraps, maybe inch ones or something, and put them just below the junction of each 3 so you're holding the cables tight. And I would, just put a grounded stake in somewhere between the house and the mast and bond it there, bond the 2 together and put a ground from that into the garage, because you don't want to be putting in a fantastic grounding system if you're going to be moving in 6 weeks or 6
Yeah.
months, you know.
I'm okay with putting in a single ground rod, but I don't want to put like 6 ground rods in
Nah,
there.
I would put one in between, halfway between you and the mast, or somewhere down there, wherever's convenient, and just disconnect it from your radios when you're not using it,
I guess that's what I'll do.
and pull the mast down when
Yeah, if it's
when you're
if I
not,
know it's gonna be a storm with lightning in it, I'll pull the mast down. The
yeah.
problem is when I don't expect it and it's up, and then I can't go out there and try and pull it down while there's lightning happening. I mean, that'd be really dumb.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll do. I guess I will.
I mean, but what you can do then is, you can get anybody in the house can go in and just unscrew the cables.
Yeah.
It helps to label them, but just
Yeah.
say, that's what I do here. And I've got those switches that short out to ground in the middle. So I'm actually grounding all the radios that go to the switches, but the coax I pull out. And all my antennas are in the attic, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Problem for you.
Yeah, and then like Rick's setup is something to look at
Okay.
when you've got a more permanent location.
Yeah.
And,
Well, that helps a lot. That helps a lot. Lightning is one of those things that I always finding conflicting information on, but it sounds like
Yeah.
you guys know what you're talking about a little bit more than some of the other people I've talked to.
Well,
Yeah.
if your radio's not connected to an antenna, and that antenna, via coax, and that coax is not close to your radio, i.e. it's a couple of feet away, it's lying on the floor or whatever, the chances of, there's still a chance that your house is going to get struck anyway, because that happens, but not as much.
I think of it. One of the things I've noticed is that like a hotel, for example, 3 or 4 stories, and they have a TV antenna up there. I wonder if that's ever been struck in its entire life.
But if you go up on top of that floor, you will see lightning spikes
Yeah.
about every 4 to 6 feet, and those are all bonded together with, I would say, probably an inch by, well, they're either around a half-inch or quarter-inch piece of copper. Normally, it's a flat piece of copper, which is an inch wide by maybe 3/16 deep. I may have a picture.
That's some
Because
serious stuff.
our antennas up in, okay, no, I don't want that. I want my albums. No, I want iCloud pictures. There we go. Oh, I'm going to help. Library. There we go. Now let me see. This is going back a bit. I probably can't find this, but we've got our repeaters up on top of the dunes, which is I don't know, 30, 35 story building. And I thought I had a picture of my grounding system as well. I probably have somewhere.
What was the topic for tonight? I forgot.
The tuning the antenna thing.
Tuning the antenna. Okay.
Yeah, using the antenna analyzer and that kind of stuff.
I was gonna show the Nano VNA.
Oh,
Ian gave this to me.
Yeah.
But it seemingly has stopped working completely. It doesn't work when it's plugged in. It doesn't work on battery. Nothing. No signs of life whatsoever. I don't see any physical damage to it. It just stopped working. It's a shame because I really liked it.
Yeah, I've got one.
I need to get another or fix this one or something, but I don't know what's wrong. I put it in a box when we moved, and after the move, I unpacked it and never turned back on. So it must have got damaged somehow, but I just don't see
Is the battery?
anything.
Mine
Battery-
won't work. unless it's charged, even though I put it on the power. Because I left mine on and it ran until it was absolutely flat once. And it wouldn't run until I charged it up a little bit, even though I was trying to make it run on power.
Well, yeah, I tried. I left it plugged in for a long time and tried to charge it back up, but it never recovered.
Never came to life.
Yeah.
Might be worth a quick. I've never taken mine apart.
I don't
I've
know.
just done some wheeling and dealing and I upgraded. I had one of those rig experts. I had the 0 to 54 megs one, and I found somebody who wanted to buy that, so I've sold it to him. And I bought the older 600 one because I don't need a current. I don't need $1 million worth of antenna analyzer. Although I do make a lot of antennas. I've made a 7, I don't know, I haven't finished it yet, but it's going to be a 15, 16 or 17 element 440 antenna to see if I can get up to the 444.775.
Are you in? You're in Naples, right, Dave?
No, I'm in Bonita Springs.
Bonita Springs, right? Oh, they took down the repeater. I forgot. I was gonna say with that kind of antenna, you could get into the 325, but that's gone.
Yeah,
That's a shame.
I cannot find our installation.
I got them all here though on the network radio.
Yeah, well, you said you were going to give Ian something.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing I wanted to do tonight, and I forgot because of this thing. I was gonna make a label to send to Black Sheep in Miami to give the box to Ian.
Yeah, because then I might be able to get into it.
Yeah, we can put the node on there, and you can talk into the 444.775. We also have it on the he had it kind of set up. We have a channel on Zello now. Ian made an account. But I don't believe it's connected to a radio. It says 444.775, but it's not connected to a radio. I think he found the cable, but it was only like half working.
Okay, yeah. No,
Hey,
I think
testing. Yeah, it's not working.
No, I should be able to hit it, I think.
With a beam like that, you should be able to hit the 775.
Yeah, it's got a real weird curve to it. I didn't take a picture of the.
Considering that my beam was 14 element, and it was able to hit somebody simplex in Naples from Fort Myers, and the height was only like 7 or 8 feet off the ground, and I was able to hear somebody simplex.
Okay, but it was outside.
The beam was, yes.
Yeah. See, mine has to be inside.
Well, you'll be inside, but the repeater is also elevated more than a simplex station.
20 foot. Yeah.
Still not a whole lot for a repeater, but better than nothing.
Yeah, I've got it. I cannot find this antenna. It's really annoying because I remember taking a picture of the grounding up there. So basically, they'll have a strip of wire, a strip of copper from the top.
I can imagine what it would look like. You got a strip of copper going along the edge of the roof to all the spikes, and then that somehow goes down to the ground through it.
Well, it goes down to the ground on the outside of the building, and it's a huge strip of copper. It's like 1/4 of an inch thick by 2 inches wide. I mean, it is big, and it hammers down.
That should be able to take care of your lightning, I would think.
Well, they burn up an awful lot. There's a lot of.
That's one business that you would always have insured income if you worked on replacing lightning arresters and lightning rods and everything. You could assure yourself that you'd always have business.
Yeah, but your insurance to operate that business is probably a fortune.
Oh, because you're climbing on stuff all the time?
Well, and, there's only so much you can do to stop it, because like if you wave a piece of metal up in the air and you live, I mean, like, you know, I mean, like you lived here, you know, this is almost lightning capital of the world. You know, it's
That's why
not
my
when.
hat beam was fairly low.
Yeah, it's not if, it's when.
Mhm.
You know, and then we had in this development, we had electronic controllers for all the pumps. Now, the irrigation here, you know, this development, if you look at it online, you can see it basically is the same as a golf course, but the golf course has been replaced by lakes and canals. And we use those lakes and canals. Oh, there it is. The lakes and canals are used for irrigation. So we irrigate the whole thing from the lakes and the canals. So the canals and the lakes fill up during the summer, and then, in the summer they fill up, and then in the winter we use it. Like now they're getting to be really low. And we have timers and all sorts of other stuff. Every single one, 24 of the pumps and the controllers in the last 3 years have been blown up by lightning.
Wow.
So what they've done is they've put these new ones, which were about $2,500 each, in, and they did. We're basically in 4 segments. This development, so they did segment once, and it went down from like 1 or 2 a month getting blown up to 0 to maybe 1 every 6 months. So it'll give you some idea. Right now, I'm not sure how I can go from picture to picture on this, but we'll try. If I go back to share a screen, and I'm not really, oh, that's not going to work. Can I highlight, if I do that, can I highlight one of these pictures?
Yeah, that's working.
Yeah. So
Oh, I
there
see
you,
it along the edge there.
there you can see the spikes. There
Ooh.
you can see the ground.
Yeah.
And if I move it, here it is.
Oh.
Okay. And you can see that here's the spikes, and you can see how tall it is. This is the dunes. So where's the next picture? Oh, I can do that. Okay, that's our antenna. Yeah, you can't really see. This is like an addition, like a small one, because this is fairly new. Not quite sure when I did that. Okay.
Food.
All right, so that's about the best I can do.
Yeah,
Now,
that's really, yeah, I see what that
so
is.
it gives you some idea. You say about these tall buildings, but I'm not quite sure why there's not one here. But normally they're like every other one of these.
Yeah.
Like you can see going along here, you can see them.
Seems like they have one at every like corner.
Yeah. And then they've got this huge piece of, and then somewhere off of the roof. Now this is a piece of steel, it looks like steel rope.
Yeah.
To me.
Copper with.
It's not copper. I thought it was copper. It might be steel wrapped copper.
Yeah.
But this is, I don't know. It's the same height as that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. It's at least 20 stories up.
Yeah.
20, 25 stories.
So you're at least a couple of 100 feet.
Yeah. And that's where our repeater is. Yeah, there. You see, this is our 70 SEMS with all the multiple things.
Yeah.
And this here.
What is that?
our-
DB9 or something?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, and this is our 2 meter.
I see.
Which I mean, we've got permission for all this, mainly because one of our guys used to live there, and one day we were up there working on some antennas, and we discovered a leak that would have cost him an arm and a leg if we hadn't have seen it when we did.
Oh yeah,
they never get up on the roof, and it would have, so they were like over the moon, and they basically let us.
It's a good deal.
put on this one, and then the building next door, which they also own. We've got two repeaters really close to each other. One of them's a Fusion, and then we actually got a 1.6. We've got an offset of 1.6 megs, I think it is. So we can talk to the one repeater through the other one, but with a non-standard offset,
Ah,
which is kind of fun. Oh, this is Pelican. Yeah, it's in Pelican Bay, but it's the dunes. So, and they leave a ladder up there for us and everything. It's really kind of cool. And as you can see, relatively easy to work on.
yeah, it's right there.
And we got a little cubby, which is all the way back. It's more like in there, because this is sloping down. This is looking east. This is looking east. So that back across Naples, this is Pelican Bay. So this will be like somewhere along Immokalee, I'm guessing.
Got all those buildings. It looks like Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, it's just off of, like here somewhere is Tamiami.
Yeah.
It's just back off. Well, here it is. This is where it is. This is 41, which is Tamiami.
Yeah.
So this is Pelican
Bay.
Way, I think it is, or something.
Pelican Bay.
Yeah. So it's, yeah, this is an interesting antenna. Came from Germany.
Oh yeah, well, I didn't recognize that.
Nah. It's, well,
German engineering. You know what
yeah,
they say
no.
about
Well,
German
that's
engineering.
that crazy 6 meter antenna I've got in the attic, which I haven't done enough work on yet, but I've got to do some more work on that. That's a double
High or
driven.
well, this isn't, are you up this high or are you still way down low?
What, doing that? This isn't me. This is
Oh,
this isn't my own personal one. This is the company one. No, not the company, the club's one.
yeah.
No, I live way over. You can't even see it up here.
Yeah.
Way over. No, you've seen pictures of mine.
Yeah.
I can show you pictures of mine. I'm going to do a lot more. Uh-oh. My installation is literally... Oh, I've killed it. Sorry. It died. It's literally... oh, there it is. All inside. So I've got to go back there. And I've got to go up here, I think. There's one picture of it. This is all my... There's one antenna, there's another one, there's a Moxon up there. There's a...
Yes, if I look in the reflection of your glasses, I can kind of see it.
There's a 6 meter
Am I missing this?
loop. What can't you
You're
see?
not. You're not sharing your screen anymore.
Ah!
And I was saying I can see it in the reflection of your glasses a little bit.
Oh, okay, now I'm with you. There you go.
There we go.
Mine's
Oh,
literally
yeah,
inside.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
now there's a Moxon there. There's a 50 centimeter loop, which is not even connected anymore. That a 6 meter loop that really didn't work very well. There, and then there's something here. I can't remember what that is. This is a feed point going up to the off-center. That's 40 meter off-center fed dipole. And if I go back, I've got more pictures somewhere else. I've been trying to thin my pictures down. Yeah, literally mine is indoors. There's nothing outside. It goes into the lanai a little bit and a few feet out the back. Oh, this is some of these we were taking down. I'm going to take some more of mine. I've been playing around with this vertical that I've got a temporary installation outside. I'm not totally convinced that I'm going to go, where are they? To this hex beam in the end, because I think it's just going to take too long to put up and take down. I don't know where it's gone. I think it's just going to take me too long to put up and take down.
That's
if it's
right.
going to take longer than 20 minutes, I'm going to end up not using it. So, you know.
Well, I'm gonna be on.
That helps.
Sorry. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Gives you some idea.
Gives me somewhere to start. Finally.
Yeah, your thoughts of where you're.
Give me somewhere to start, and I can plan out something or other. The disconnect. I like the idea of a box outside that I could disconnect.
And it doesn't have to be that crazy.
No, I'm not going to make it super crazy. Now that I know there's not really a way to make your tower invisible to lightning,
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to disconnect something if I feel like disconnecting it. I like using my radios during the storm, though. Then you could hear the crackly lightning.
Yeah, I mean, so I must admit. Well, you see, you're okay because, I mean, you know, if you go on HF, you can go on HF through the summer pretty much all the time, and you can hear what people are saying. They can hear these static crashes.
Yeah.
Which are really just lightning, you know, I don't know.
Well, yeah, when that whole system
Over
was
Tennessee
moving
or
through,
somewhere.
Yeah, that whole system that was moving through the day before yesterday, I went on 40 meters and it was like super crackly. Oh no, I went down to 60 kilohertz is what I did. And it was super crackly. And I was like, why is it? It's not normally this crackly. But then I realized that there's a whole bunch of lightning down south. And sure enough, that's what it was.
And how far away was down south?
200, 300, 400, almost 1,000 miles.
No,
because it was there. I mean, it was a front moving through. So it was all up and down, all the way up to us. And then all the way down to like Louisiana. It was pretty much the whole thing. And that was what it was coming from.
So they had that tornado in New Orleans.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
they did.
Yeah, I watched the news today. I've been doing doctors and physical therapy and all sorts of other crap. But yeah, so basically you can still use your radio because there's no way you're going to get hit by a lightning strike that's happening, you know, 400 or 500 miles away. Probably 25 miles away is probably good. So you can use your radio up until, and then the thing is that what you want to do with your radio during those storms, because, you know, you can put up, if you only want to listen, you could put a loop around that garden fence you've got.
Yes.
And, you know, I don't know if it's a quarter of wavelength on each leg, so it'd be, you know, full wavelength, say at 20 meters, if you can put that much out round there. You know, 4-to-1 Ballum.
Well, you don't even need that. If you're just doing listening, I'm happy with a random wire.
Yeah,
I used to have a random wire in the back. It ran from one end of from the back of the house to the other end of the fence. And for a long time, I just had that run up through the window upstairs, and it went into the ham it up and into one of these and into a Raspberry Pi. And that was my remote listening station.
Oh, okay.
And that worked pretty good.
Yeah.
Man, I have that Radio Shack, or it's a realistic, I think it's a realistic brand. The DX150B, that thing, the big old box. I really want to set that up somewhere. Maybe I'll put a table up next to me here and set that up with a separate listening only antenna. And
well, a lot of radios. I saw that. Was that an 850 you got there?
Where? Which
the one you were playing with earlier on?
Oh, my HF rig is a TS440S.
T440S. Yeah, that hasn't got a receive only socket on it, has it? No.
No, it's.
But some of the newer ones, or a lot of the newer ones, have got receive only sockets on them. But yeah, so I mean, I think Ian's idea of, you know, during the storm activity is a great idea. I think that's, you know, because we're sat here, you know, I mean, I used to work for the Red Cross and I used to come down for the hurricanes and stuff, but really we didn't do anything until after. We did lots of work before, lots of stuff after, but nothing during the storm.
I tell you what, one of the weirdest experiences, not weird, but just kind of, I guess, cool, was when Irma came through, back when I was first became a ham, and we had an antenna up in our attic and the ICOM downstairs. And during Irma, while it was raging outside, like worst of it was coming through, I got on the repeater and talked to a couple people. Like, well, it's like some of the locals that still had their systems up.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool because you're like, man, how do you holding out? You know, you doing okay? That was interesting because I know most of the people, we're talking about bringing down their towers and getting off the radio for the duration of the storm. But those who had it on, it was really cool.
And you can get a report.
Yeah, figure out where they are and see what the conditions are like.
Yeah, because I said to Ian, like the other day, I mean, now we're talking a couple of 3 weeks, maybe a little more, where we had that tornado that came up, out towards Immokalee, all the way up from the coast, almost from like the Everglades City, all the way up, and then went through somewhere north of Fort Myers. That would have been good, to keep an eye on and talk about, because we had, it wasn't that far away from us. I mean, I used to live in Kentucky, so, tornadoes, you can have a tornado the other side of the street. And, and we're okay, but it would have been kind of cool. I saw you had one up this week, didn't you, a storm?
Yeah, I had the live feed up because of that front that was coming through.
Yeah.
We were supposed to get some really high winds and general bad weather, and we got some decent wind, but we were so the live stream was up for that. I had the camera outside. Oh yeah, I ordered a weather station finally. Not a super nice Davidson or anything like that, but I did get just a cheap 433 megahertz weather station. It's like a Sane Logic brand, I think. I had really good reviews and a lot of people said it was good. And I'm going to put it up outside, and what I really want to do is, it has like a really cool screen that it comes with that has like this really nice looking readout for everything, but it has wind speed and direction, as well as a bunch of other stuff like temperature, humidity, pressure, all that stuff, and rainfall amount. It collects that too. But what I really want to do is take one of these and use the RTL 433 program and figure out Python. And I want to make a application for your computer that will decode the transmissions and give you like a computer receiver for it. So I can put that on the stream and have it better than just having like a camera pointed at the
Look up something called WEEWX, WEEWX.
WEEWX.
That's a Python program. I've got that running here on my Davis weather station. It supports all kinds of weather stations.
I wonder if it would support RTL 433.
I don't know. Just something to check out.
I think you probably would have to have something with a USB, or I'm looking here at the list of supported hardware. Some of these look like the wireless kind. Oh, give me 1 second. I gotta.
Holy Moses. I didn't realize these Davis weather stations were so expensive.
Yeah, they're not inexpensive. You can put some money into them.
Yeah, I've got a Hewlett Packard one in the garage that I've not put up yet. Someone gave me. But that was like 120 quid. These things are 120 bucks, should I say. These things are like $1,500.
Yeah, you can blow that much. I think mine was 300 and something. So they aren't cheap. Mine's been up since last June, and it's been just fine. All the hurricane threats and everything.
Yeah, there's one there, 319. Oh, I see. Oh my God, yeah, got everything. Oh, that'd be interesting. Strapped onto the side of the. What I'm going to do, I'm going to push the boat out. At the Hamfest, there was a guy. I don't know if you saw him. I don't know if you went to the Hamfest, but at the Fort Myers Hamfest, there was a guy that had a bunch of old antennas and stuff, quite close to the door, and he had a disc cone with one leg missing. He had this vertical that he said was 3 bands. He couldn't get it to work. And he had some parts that looked like they were from a M2 I don't know what they call them. Oh, golly, what they call egg beater antennas. So, and he said, oh, the coil in this one is burnt out. So, you know, I gave him $30 for the lot of it. It took me a little while, but I eventually got the vertical to work. It's only 2 meters and 70 cents. It's a Cushcraft. It's worth like $350. And it cost me, you know, I don't know, a couple of hours to dismantle it, clean it, put it back together, get it set up. So I was thinking, oh, I'm quids in. The discount I haven't really done much with, but the egg beaters, when I took it apart, yeah, it looked like you put 1,000 watts through a 50-watt balun or something. It was all burnt out, but the other bits and pieces were okay. I called the guy at M squared or M2 and talked about what I had, and he said this was a model that they'd finished a couple of years ago when they used to use round stock, but they use square stock now. So he said, I can sell you the 2 balums, you can get the copper from Home Depot, and I'll sell you the balums, and I'll throw in a load of stuff that I've got that we can't sell anymore because we don't. He sent me, I'm not kidding, like even a 6-foot piece of 1 3/4 aluminium tube in to put these 2 on, the 2 balums. So the 2 balums, which were burnt out, those cost me $35 each. And then I give him $20 for all the rest of the bits and pieces. I'm looking online, these antennas are like $500-600. I got 70 cents for the 2 meter one. that you know, cost me just short of $100. Well, plus buying them, $10 for buying them, so $110. Wow. I'm thinking of bolting those 2 onto the edge of my lanai between me and next door, because that'd be behind a tree, and seeing whether I'll be omnidirectional. You know, they're the egg beater ones. I don't know if I can find the website. I think DX Engineering sell them. Hang on a second.
This WWX thing it says it supports RTL SDR.
Yeah.
Which means it could decode it, which is amazing. I can't believe that. This is so cool. Thanks for telling me about this.
Yeah.
So that's what you wanted.
It runs on a Raspberry Pi.
Can I not run it? It says it has Debian Ubuntu, Mint, including Raspberry Pi. Okay, it's not just Raspberry Pi. Oh, another thing that's cool. The person who made Ghost Tools, which is a software you put on the Pi to get the images from the satellite, actually came back onto the GitHub for the first time in like forever and took all the fixes that I put together, which I talked about many TechNets ago. I compiled together a whole bunch of fixes for it to keep up with the version updates. And so he put all that together. So now Ghost Tools should supposedly compile from the source on modern Ubuntu and Raspberry Pi and everything, and it should still work, which is great.
Wow. I didn't realize. So what I've got is basically that.
Oh, okay.
Including this piece, including that piece, including those pieces, and some of these, but I've already bought those. This is what I bought, that piece and some of these, that piece and some of these, and these were 2 burnt out balums. That fits in the balum, so I bought those 2. I had those hex nuts there that these screw into. That came with the kit that I bought, so I can't remember exactly what I paid at Home Depot for the other bits, but I'm looking at like $130 max for this. So I've mounted this the other way round, so the tall bit is at the bottom. This is drilled for a pole, but I think I'm going to screw this directly into the side of the lanai and see if I can get away with it as a, what would you call it? A satellite antenna for receiving the weather. So yeah, I had to make that pole. That pole wasn't existing, but he gave me all the dimensions. So this is sold by DX Engineer, but this is all square stock now. This is an old drawing. They don't do this model. I think they brought it down to like 550.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a go because I've got a radio I can use for satellites. But I'm wondering whether, that might pick up. Well, the disc cone will definitely pick up the weather satellites. Well, that's another little job I've got going. So how long do you think you're going to be in your temporary home?
I don't really know. It's could be a year, maybe less, hopefully less.
Oh, okay.
Or it could be more.
It sucks, doesn't it, moving?
Yeah. Especially from one state to the other when you have a whole business to bring up.
Yeah. Well, I moved back in 2017. I moved 4 times in 1 year.
Ooh.
And
See, it's easier for you though, because you don't have 10 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was easier for me. I moved from Atlanta to Fort Myers in 2017 rather. And then last year I moved right next door. So,
Oh, okay.
Which was a lot easier than having to move 600 miles.
Yeah.
That-
Well, I lived for 11 years without a home.
Yeah.
The company moved me, I'd be 3 months somewhere, 6 months somewhere, 4 months somewhere, 2 months somewhere. And I did okay with it because, my company, they were a good company, they had good benefits and everything, and they treated everybody well. I had a couple of cardboard boxes in the office where I kept, various clothes, and I just moved everything with me. And, moved from one apartment to the other, to the other, to the other. And I've still got it, I dragged an old IC 746 with me. And I've still got it here now. I just can't get rid of it. I can't even remember how many countries I operated that thing from. With all sorts of bits of wires thrown out. But yeah, I've kind of gone off the moving thing now.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
too.
That killed me moving. Well, I moved from Pennsylvania down to here, and then from here back up to Pennsylvania, and then from Pennsylvania down here, and then I moved down here again, all in one year.
I was working out of the Atlanta office, and then we started working. Then I started working remote back in 2017 before remote working from home was cool. And I moved down here to take care of my mother, who has since passed. And so now we got a new CEO that came in here a couple of years ago, and of course COVID has delayed this. But he'd like to get everybody back in the office. Well, I've been designated as work from home, but if they take that away, I'm going to tell them bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. How long have you worked from?
10 years, 11 years.
Oh, okay.
So I've been working for them for a long time, but I'm also old enough to collect Social Security, which I'm doing. So as soon as they start telling me I got to move again or start commuting to an office, I'm just going to say, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, I worked too long. I worked a year too long. I should have retired when I was 65. I waited until I was 66.
Yeah.
And it was, well, I didn't realize how much work there was down here because, I used to do handyman work and stuff on the side. And that was my plan, to come down here, retire early and work handyman stuff. And I just did not realize how much work there was down here. I don't do any of it anymore. I've kind of given up at Christmas.
Yeah.
So, I just crossed the magic 70 line. So
Yeah, I just did that myself. So
I figured, okay, that's enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I started my Social Security last year when I hit 70, and I figured, well, if they, as long as I can keep working, I'll keep going. But if they're going to tell me I got to go to an office or move, I'm done. I'll go find something else to do.
yeah. Well, I got enough to do playing around with these radio projects, to be honest.
Yeah, I do too. I would probably lay off for a while and get all my radio stuff caught up and get this house straightened out, and then maybe go find me a part-time job someplace.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of thought that. Well, I retired and I came down here. I retired for 4 months. And then I just got bored. And then my neighbour paid an absolute fortune to get 2 light bulbs changed. And I was thinking, oh, I can do that.
Yeah,
So, within a couple of weeks, I was working 7 days a week.
yeah.
And
I want to be working 7 days. I'd
No.
be happy to work part-time.
well, initially when I started, I didn't want to turn anything down.
Yeah,
Especially when you can earn $100, putting a couple of receptacles in, or changing someone's shower thing.
Yeah.
Or the big earner for me was, for a while, was the waste disposal units.
Oh,
So many people had those burn out, and I made a jig out of an old car scissors jack
yeah,
to jack them up, take the weight, then undo the screws, then jack them down, put the new one in and jack them up. So you're not trying to hold them up there and do up that crazy nut that they make for that thing. So I
Yeah.
made a scissors. I literally went down to North
Northern Tool.
North Naples, to the scrapyard there, and I went in and I said, I want to buy a Toyota car jack, and he said, oh, we've only got like 700 of those, because every car that got scrapped still had its jack inside.
yeah.
One of those scissors jacks, and made a little platform from the top of it, and I
Yeah.
could, that was a really cool. That and showers, the controller, the cassette that
everybody-
plugs in. Oh my
Yeah.
God, we had so many of those burn out. Oh, and toilets, the flush thing kept running and all that stuff.
Oh, yep. I've already had to do that
Yeah,
after moving here.
and
Relative.
and some people, especially the older people, they don't want to do it. And yeah,
I've got a kitchen faucet, which is one of those single, arm things, and
Yeah.
it leaks. So I'm gonna have to I guess I need to head for the Home Depot and get the stuff I need and get that replaced.
you can
I
get
hate-
you can get washer kits for those, but a lot of people just throw them away. But you can
Yeah.
dismantle them really pretty easily.
Yeah, maybe if I could do that, I could fix that. That'd be great.
Yeah, you can get kits. I forget. You can
Well-
get one from Moen. You can get one from Delta.
Yeah, this
Can't
is
remember who else does a kit.
Yeah,
I think actually, if you can switch it off underneath and take it out, take
Yeah.
it down to Home Depot or Lowe's, you'll be able to find exactly which one it is.
yeah,
But they're pretty good. But a plumber would charge you probably $500 for doing that.
yeah.
Plumbers are unreal. They charge $210 to come out here, just to
Oh,
drive out here.
Yeah. Well,
$120 an hour to do the work, and
plus the parts.
what you can buy at Home Depot for $50, they charge you $100.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's not unusual around here to see somebody with a $500 plumbing bill for something that's just a small, annoying water leak.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gone past it now. I can't do it anymore. So
I do not.
Oh well. Well, I think I need to get off of here. It's getting close
yeah,
to
me too. It's way past my bedtime. I got to get up early in the morning again.
Yeah, we gotta.
Another call in with the
Butterfly Gardens again for me tomorrow.
Alrighty. Well, we'll go ahead and at least end the YouTube here, and then probably end the meeting in a second. Thank you everybody for watching. This is the Southwest Florida Tech Net. We'll be live again next week at 7 Eastern time. Actually, is it 7? Is the time zone
7
different?
Central Time.
7 Central Time, 8 Eastern time.
Eastern Time.
Okay. So check out our website, swfltech.net or swflwatch.net. and check out our projects and everything. And you can see our past archives on here on YouTube and all that. So anyway, thank you all for